Fox's Todd Pyro. An arrest in Serbia ends the manhunt for a mass shooter who targeted people randomly, killing 8. Second mass shooting in Serbia in 2 days. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Updates on the standoff. 54 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Richmond police got into a standoff with an 81-year-old suspected shooter Thursday afternoon, which ended when he was shot by police. Officers went to a home on Rich Road after hearing that a man had shot a woman. However, when they arrived, the man barricaded himself inside his next-door home. Police say 81-year-old Charles Adams fired at officers while they were trying to de-escalate the situation. Eventually, he was shot by members of the Indiana State Police SWAT team. He was then taken to Reed Health with non-life-threatening injuries. The woman was also taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. You may remember the Alabama inmate and jail guard who were on the run and eventually caught in Indiana. Donnie Burgess reports on the inmate's plea deal.
Casey White has agreed to a guilty plea for his April 2022 jail escape in exchange for the murder charge against him being dismissed. He was charged with murder after Vicky White shot herself in the head during their attempted escape from Indiana cops last May. Both were on the run until they were spotted by an Evansville car wash worker. The prosecution said Casey White's escape led to Vicky White's eventual death. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And Governor Holcomb signed 91 bills into law Thursday.
One of which was a bill that requires parents to be notified if their child wants to change their name or pronoun. I'm John Herrick. That law also bans human sexuality instruction from kindergarten through 3rd grade. Holcomb also signed the state budget, a public health funding bill, and a bill that requires a portion of revenue from any future school referenda to be put towards charter schools. Holcomb did not veto a single bill this year. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Time for your traffic on the 5s. Here's Matt Baer.
You got it, Sasha. Looking at Arlington Avenue Bridge on the south side, that was scheduled to close at 9 a.m. this morning, so the area is kind of from Thompson Road to Hannah Avenue. You know, Arlington Avenue Bridge over 465 scheduled to shut down about now today until November 5th. Northbound 465 Lawrence, stop-and-go traffic from Penn Pike up to 75th. Traffic sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers, and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store, staplesconnect.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
I put drugs and drinking ahead of my family. I missed important moments. My wife and kids missed me. My addiction controlled my life, and I had a choice to make. I chose a personalized addiction treatment plan from Landmark Recovery, and my family got me back.
Choose life. Choose Landmark Recovery. Visit landmarkrecovery.com to learn more.
The internet can be an all-you-can-eat buffet for identity thieves.
So full.
Too many maiden names.
And social security numbers.
Where'd you find those?
By the password bar. Can't miss them.
LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss by monitoring your credit and bank statements. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
And now here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy and pretty mild today, a high of around 75. No issues tonight, mainly clear, not as chilly, and quiet, a low of 53. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Sasha Nixon, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's Spring Flowers headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 5th. Congratulations. You made it. Give yourself a big old pat on the back. You finally made it to Friday. It is 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. And boy, we're glad you're joining us today. We start off the show talking Tucker. Apparently, he's pondering hosting his own Republican debate.
Well, isn't it interesting? Because we had just mentioned this yesterday, because the big thing is, well, what is Tucker Carlson going to do? And where's he going to go? And, people, it's like Newsmax seems like an obvious landing spot. And I had told you, I think the brand of Tucker Carlson is strong enough that if he desired to put, to steal a phrase from Kamala Harris, the work into the process, that he could start some sort of his own entity, for lack of a better term. And it appears that maybe, at least in the short term, that's where he's leaning. Now, what's interesting is, and I don't know this for sure, but this article originally ran in the Washington Post. And you know this and I know this, that it is structured oftentimes in media, especially for high-level personalities, where if you're fired, especially unless you're, convicted of a felony of some sort or something of that nature, you will be paid your contract. However, it prohibits you from doing other things.
Right.
However, without knowing the exact way his contract is structured, Fox News may have no interest in continuing to pay this guy an exorbitant amount of money to not work if they don't believe that he will harm them substantially. So those are things that obviously would have to be worked out without knowing the specifics of how his contract is structured. But we may have, again, been well ahead of the curve on this show, Casey.
Yeah, so it really depends on his non-compete agreement. Is there something in there that says that he can't go to another network? He can't work in any sort of broadcast media? Does that include social media?
Yeah.
Does it not? Unless we know the specifics of his contract. The world may never know. He has been approached by a couple other networks. One includes the faith-based Trinity Broadcasting Network.
Yeah.
Another one includes One America News Network. And even Newsmax have approached Tucker to come work for him. Now, the thing with all of those, Tucker is bigger than all of those networks. So he would definitely be in the driver's seat in those situations where he could demand or ask for whatever he wanted.
Right.
He could stipulate all of the details about the contract. But does he want to do that? If he's bigger than the network, why doesn't he go out on his own? And it appears that that is something that he is considering.
Yeah, let me make a couple things clear. Number one, because it comes for all of us in this business, there will come a day where they will tell me my services are no longer needed here. And when they do, I intend to sit my backside at home for as long as my contract calls for me to be paid out when that day happens. So if you're listening up there, I don't even know what floor they're on here because we have obviously new owners, but you'll be paying every penny. Don't count on me making any deals to stop the payments early so I can go somewhere else. I'm going to be watching Springer reruns and old Geraldo episodes and Sally Jesse Raphael. The other thing, though, yes, you're right. And you see this in sports sometimes where a great player will take more money to play for a worse team. Like and again, I'm just totally making teams up here, but if you were on the New York Yankees and you were the best player and the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are one of the worst teams in the league, say, we'd like for you to be on our team. Well, there's a premium to be paid for your team not being as good as the team I am previously on. So for a Trinity Broadcasting, I mean, not to in any way undermine what they do, but ratings bear it out that they don't have near the viewership, and Tucker Carlson would dramatically enhance their viewership. Mm-hmm. There's a premium to be paid for that. But how much is money worth to you if you're someone like Tucker Carlson, who has probably been very smart with his money?
And there's also the possibility that Tucker could go back to Fox and say, hey, listen, I want out of the contract. You can pay me less money and we'll just completely part ways. Does he want to do that? Because the longer that he stays out of the, you have to do it consistently every day. That's where your audience is. And the longer he's away from media, his audience will find new ways to fill their time.
Yeah, and see, this is where
his contract goes until the end of this year.
Well, and this is where it just depends on how motivated you are as a person. Because if his contract runs to the end of this year, you're still a player in 2024, effective January 21 of 2024. I mean, you can have that all lined up, whatever. It does come down to, look, for me, Casey, I've been quite adamant. My dream in life is to buy that building across from the State House and Government Center where the subway is downtown and drape a giant sheet bed that says Holcomb and Todd Young suck out the window. That is my whole goal in life. When I acquire enough money to do that and can facilitate that transaction, I'll be good. Tucker may, however, have higher aspirations in life from a money and public policy influence standpoint.
Yeah, 7 months still, because we still have a long ways until the end of the year. 7 months in the media world is a long time, and the longer he's away from it, the more people will forget about him. But if he were to decide to go to some other broadcast company, well, he's going to, right now, bring that audience with him. Will he host this debate? Wouldn't that be the most interesting debate of all?
If his contract runs to the end of the year, and again, who knows what the language actually says, I almost find it hard to believe Fox News would let him out of the contract. I mean, if you can pay $700 and some odd million in a settlement, why would you care about whatever? Let's say it's $5 million he's owed. I mean, I'm totally just making up numbers here. But if you could block the guy from harming you for an entire year, wouldn't you? What is $5 million to Fox?
You're going to pay it. Well, and aren't they in an interesting situation right now? Because they've let him go. They're still currently paying him not to be there, yet their ratings are still going down.
Right.
Will it hurt Fox even more if he goes to another company and starts broadcasting? Their ratings are going to continue to go down.
You know who else is having big problems, Casey?
Bud Light?
Yes, huge.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple things going on with Bud Light right now. They're giving a free case of beer to every wholesale employee as it begs for forgiveness. And their CEO has disavowed the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light partnership. He's saying, it's not a campaign.
Don't you love?
It was just a one-off.
Don't you love that their response, hey, sorry, we totally blew it and put a man who dresses up and acts like a little girl as our spokesperson. We're sorry, Mr. Distributor Man, beer truck driver man. We're sorry. You may have to be let go eventually because we totally screwed up because we'd rather be woke than take care of you and our company. Here's a free case of beer.
Well, the CEO sent a firm letter to all of the retailers, and he blamed an outside ad agency, saying that it was approved without management awareness. So again, not taking accountability. Whether it was an outside ad agency or it was not a campaign or it's just a one-off, whatever, you got to own it because your Bud Light name was on it.
Wait. Time out. I want to repeat this back and make sure I understood this. So the head of...
The CEO of Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah, CEO of Anheuser-Busch claims that an outside agency, just on a whim, took a transsexual who not only is he transsexual, he is a grown-ass man who dresses up and behaves like a little girl.
Like a 13-year-old girl.
Well, and I'm not going to use any words that describe with P that come to mind when you see this Dylan Mulvaney dude. But that guy just magically started appearing in commercials and ads and as a face for this company. And the CEO is trying to say, well, it was an outside ad agency that brought the grown-ass man who behaves like a little girl as our spokesperson, and we had no idea.
Yep.
You know, that's almost as ridiculous, Casey, as the six-figure salary superintendent in Brownsburg, in which allegedly a special needs child was forced by multiple school employees to eat his own vomit, who rules that school corporation with an iron fist, claiming, well, I had no idea about this for 2 months. You notice how nobody ever takes responsibility? Everybody wants the money. Everybody wants the power. Everybody wants the title. But then when it comes time to accept responsibility for your giant, colossal screw-up, whether it's allowing a transsexual who behaves like a little girl to endorse your product that's targeted towards men, or allowing allegedly staff members to force a special needs child to eat their own vomit, you notice the big tough guys never want to take responsibility. But when it comes to paychecks and titles, they're all about it.
They're okay with that. Bud Light is also apparently offering their delivery drivers and warehouse workers a $500 bonus.
Oh, again, sorry, you're about to lose your job. Accept our case of beer and $500. Kev, If Casey and I totally blew the show, you may have heard, Kev, we're doing very well in the ratings. About as well as you could imagine.
Sure.
But imagine, Kev, if Casey and I did something highly horrific and they said, this show is cratered and you are all out of here and it is something a mistake you needlessly made. And Kev, you are out with the Kendall and Casey show through no fault of your own. Here is a case of beer and $500. We wish you good luck in life. How would you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, in a case of beer can go a long way, but I don't think it would fully compensate.
Yeah, I knew the case of beer with you, Kev, might.
No, I never really liked Bud Light anyway, so it would have to be something else.
Well,
He's got a higher brow taste than Bud Light.
Anecdotally, again, this is pure anecdotal evidence. Again, you may know, Casey, I took a second job because, well, with the Republicans keeping taxes very low and Biden keeping items very inexpensive to buy, I just felt for my personal health, it would be a good thing for me to have to go work a second job.
Yeah.
We, on the large plot of land in which recreational activity is performed involving flags and clubs and little white balls.
Oh, okay.
I have not sold a single Bud Light.
Yeah.
A single one since... No, I'm sorry. I have sold 2 Bud Lights since this whole thing started.
Yeah. Well, that's not gonna do much for the Anheuser-Busch company.
And people, when they come in, they joke about, hey, yeah, my buddy here will have a Bud Light.
Right. Now it's a joke. Well, of course, their sales have crashed 26%. And the people at Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light, they just don't seem to get it, that people don't want politics or sexual lifestyle or anything that they don't approve of thrown in their faces, especially when buying beer. That's supposed to be a good time beverage, and all of a sudden, it's not a good time.
Because they're not getting out. I know we got to get to break, but they're not getting out of promoting this LGBTQ transgender agenda stuff. I mean, they're not wavering from that. They're sorry they got caught. They're sorry the Dylan Mulvaney thing didn't work out. They're not sorry for why they did it. They're not sorry for why it's not working out. They're not changing. They were adamant. We are not getting off this LGBTQ agenda stuff. And it's like, dude, people just want to drink beer. They don't want your sexual preference thrown in their face. They don't want your politics thrown in their face. They don't want a man who dresses up like a little girl thrown in their face. They just want to drink beer. And there's lots of other beers they can drink.
Okay, they had that Clydesdale commercial that they released, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, which was kind of like all Americana, and we're sorry, but without actually saying they're sorry. Apparently, they do have plans for a very large summer campaign with millions of dollars behind it.
Doesn't matter.
We'll see what the content is in that marketing plan. 19 minutes after 9, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
It'll be incumbent Mayor Joe Hogsett versus Republican challenger Jefferson Shreve.
Your city.
One Vision wants you to believe that the best way to go forward is to go back to the good old days.
Your state.
Former WTHR TV news anchor John Stair in Zionsville won the Republican nomination for mayor.
Westfield City Councilor Scott Willis won the Republican primary for Westfield mayor.
In Greenwood, incumbent Mark Myers won the Republican mayor primary race.
93 WIBC.
Hellsberg Diamonds presents the holy grail of engagement rings. Michael was getting engaged and needed a ring, but not just any ring, the engagement ring. The kind that when he saw it, he'd just know. So Michael looked around online, asked friends for advice.
I want a ring that's special. One that's,
You gotta go to Hellsberg.
Michael went to Hellsberg Diamonds, where he found an incredible selection of beautiful rings, settings, and both lab-grown and natural diamonds, certified and guaranteed to be of the highest quality. He also met Sarah, a Hellsberg Diamond expert, who helped him find that special ring he was looking for, so that when his fiancée opened the box...
Wow, it's...
Yep, sounds right to me. Be like Michael. Find the engagement ring of your dreams at a Hellsberg store near you or online at Hellsberg.com. And right now at Hellsberg Diamonds, take advantage of special financing offers.
Visit Damon's Lawn and Garden at 4914 Rockville Road for endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, and spectacular hanging baskets. Plus, garden and landscape supplies. The knowledgeable staff is ready to assist you. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Damon's West and visit their website at dammons.com. That's dammons.com.
Damon's Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden centers.
A toast to our new college grad who fills us with so much joy, almost as much as when we're in our RV. Oh, the world is your oyster, kiddo, and ours too. Now that we're covered with Progressive, Dad and I can hop in our RV anytime we want. Might even splurge on a retractable awning. Ooh, look out. Sorry, what was I talking about?
Protect your loved one with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The greenhouse is full of color at Sundown Gardens. Summer annuals and hanging baskets are arriving daily at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com. SundownGardens.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
He's a mean guy.
And Casey Daniels.
She's the nicest person I've ever met.
On 93 WIBC.
22 minutes after 9, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Some things that are trending this morning. Jenny Craig, the weight loss company, is shutting down after 40 years. They have 500 locations in the U.S. and Canada, and they employ more than 3,000 people. Also trending this morning, Weird Al. I know you're a big fan.
Oh, yes.
He wants to build an amphitheater in northern Indiana in Elkhart.
Oh.
Yes. Apparently, he was in Elkhart recently, fell in love with the city, and now he wants to build this amphitheater, which is expected to be the third largest in Indiana. It's slated for completion by May of 2025.
I love that. Anything Weird Al, I'm all about it.
And lastly, Elon Musk. Here he is saying some interesting things. He's talking about sex. His point of view is that a lot of time and a lot of thinking goes into it, even when we're not trying to procreate. And that is just silly to him.
A massive amount of thinking, like truly stupendous amount of thinking, has gone into sex. Without purpose. Without procreation. Which is actually quite a silly action in the absence of procreation. Why are you doing it? Because it makes the limbic system happy. That's why.
That's why.
But it's pretty absurd, really. But I mean, this is a lot of computation has gone into how can I do more of that with procreation not even being a factor.
Okay, Casey.
It's Friday. Let it fly.
Was that AI Elon or the real Elon?
No, that was real Elon.
Okay. Now look.
A lot of computation goes into it.
At 39 years old, I'm a much different person, say, than I was at 25 or even 30. And so 39-year-old me would maybe answer this question differently than 25-year-old me. But if I were to say that I considered the things that I did and thought about in my mid-20s wasted time, the 25-year-old version of me would strangulate the 39-year-old version of me because, as the famed great Midwestern singer Michael Stanley once said, all you get to keep, Casey, are the memories. You got to make the good ones last.
And I would guess that Kevin would have a different angle than an older Rob Kendall would, just based on age alone.
I mean,
when it comes to time spent thinking about having sex.
Yes.
That's just the way it is, right?
And here's why I'm being cautious with this, because I had just said in the last segment what if I did something that needlessly caused the both of us to get run out of here, and then poor Kevin was offered a case of Bud Light and $500 as a severance package. And so I don't want to do that. I'm just going to say I'm not sure many people would agree with the assessment of the gajillionaire, Mr. Musk.
Elon Musk. Correct. 26 minutes after 9. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer threatening to subpoena the U.S. Attorney General. And this all comes down to the allegations of influence peddling for sale involving the Biden administration.
Yeah, this is great. So, like, if you were to ask me, Rob, let's role play real quick. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Rob, have you at any time influence peddled, taken money in order to influence public policy?
Rob, have you ever taken money to influence public policy?
No, Casey, I absolutely have not done that. See how easy that was?
Right.
Straight. Here is John Kirby, spokesman for the White House. He was asked the exact same question. He did not give that answer.
John, I've got a question about House Oversight Committee subpoena that was issued yesterday. It's seeking an FBI document from 2020 that, quote, describes an alleged criminal scheme involving then Vice President Biden and a foreign national relating to the exchange of money for policy decisions. What's the White House's response to this serious corruption allegation?
I'm going to have to refer you to the Justice Department on that. I have nothing for you on that today.
No. Do you know what country this pertains to, or what policy decision?
I have nothing for you, sir. I'm going to have to refer you to the Justice Department, and I'm getting the hook. See ya.
See ya.
I'm out of here. I ain't got nothing for you. It's interesting that he asked what the policy was, because that was my question as well. But he went even one further. And what country was that foreign national from? Apparently, the FBI is taking this whistleblower very seriously, as reported this morning on the Tony Katz Show.
But the issue becomes, will they classify the information before this can get out?
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, well, it's just, it always seems to work out in Biden's favor. So we'll see how this one goes.
So Ron DeSantis has a new big fan with a big wallet, and we're going to get into that next from 93 WIBC.
Are you dealing with foot, knee, hip, or back pain? Well, it sounds like you could use a spring in your step. Hi, this is Phoebe with the Good Feet store, and I've got just the thing to help you spring forward into comfort. Good Feet's unique, patented 3-step arch support system is designed to reduce pressure on your joints to keep you feeling energized all day long, even when you're running on an hour's less sleep. With less pressure on your joints, you'll also experience less pain and discomfort too. When you visit the Good Feet store, we'll take time with you to figure out what you need on your free personalized fitting. You can also take all the time you need to walk in-store to feel the Good Feet difference personalized for your feet, your shoes, and your lifestyle. Most of our customers say they feel relief immediately, and you can too. Make your appointment today at goodfeet.com. Don't just live with the pain. Discover your options and spring into comfort at the Good Feet store. Come in today for your free personalized fitting and test walk. We're in your neighborhood. Visit goodfeet.com to find the location nearest to you.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Edwards Equipment in Danville, one of America's first Kubota dealers, is celebrating 50 years in business, and customers are the winner. From your lawn to the farm, family-owned Edwards Equipment in Danville has the experience and Kubota products to improve your outdoor living. May 13th is Edwards Customer Appreciation Event. Lunch is provided, and the WIBC Home and Garden Show will be broadcasting on-site. Stop by and test drive your new piece of Kubota equipment. Special financing will be available. Celebrating 50 years in business, Edwards Equipment in Danville.
That's Faber's Bean Window. Trust me.
Are you thinking about your next home improvement project, but you need more than a window replacement? Whether it's siding, entry doors, or maybe a bath or shower remodel, design it before you buy it. That's right. B's using the latest in technology to create an architectural design so you can see our products on your house before you purchase. For a limited time, receive 50% off all products, plus special manufacturer rebates and 20 months no interest, no payments.
Trust me.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
His guilty plea. 57 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 9:31. You may remember the Alabama inmate and jail guard who were on the run and eventually caught in Indiana. Donnie Burgess reports on the inmate's plea deal.
Casey White has agreed to a guilty plea for his April 2022 jail escape in exchange for the murder charge against him being dismissed. He was charged with murder after Vicky White shot herself in the head during their attempted escape from Indiana cops last May. Both were on the run until they were spotted by an Evansville car wash worker. The prosecution said Casey White's escape led to Vicky White's eventual death. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Indiana Comic Convention, commonly referred to as Comic-Con, kicks off today. The event will run through Sunday at the Indiana Convention Center. This year's celebrity guests include the Flash actor Grant Gustin, Sons of Anarchy star Charlie Hunnam, and Mythbusters icon Adam Savage. You can get tickets online at indianacomicconvention.com. And now for your WIBC Money Update. It looks like the Dow is up 235 points to 33,428. The S&P is up 34 points, and the NASDAQ is up 82 points. I'm Sasha Nixon, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
9:33. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Stop trying to talk about sex with me, Casey. We've had enough sex talk here the whole break. Is Elon Musk, sex this, sex that.
If you missed our last break, Elon Musk, we had an audio clip of Elon Musk talking about people spending a lot of time he sounded like such a robot. The computation of time people spend thinking about sex is quite silly, even when they're not trying to procreate. It's just,
the Casey's over here trying to have an episode of Red Shoe Diaries, and it's like, woman, get to work. You're creating a hostile work environment. Whoa! Casey's like, when I was 24. No, stop right there. We don't need to know anything else. Just stop.
You know what? People listening to you right now are going to believe you that actually happened. So don't say that. It's not even true. Let's talk about what's going on with Peter Thiel. Okay, this is a tech billionaire. He's been typically a big Republican mega donor. He recently came out and said he wasn't going to support any candidates at all in the 24 election. I believe he did back Trump in 2020.
Yeah, well, Peter Thiel has been a long time. He's in the Trump orbit. He was big in the Blake Masters failed Senate campaign in Arizona last year, and was, as you said, yes, a big. He's the PayPal guy. He's I think the guy that invented or was on the ground floor of PayPal and made a gajillion dollars selling PayPal.
Well, he said this time, although previously he said he wasn't going to support any candidate, he has now said that he will support Ron DeSantis. But he gave a warning to Ron DeSantis. You want his money? Play my way. And he's saying that Ron DeSantis should not focus on the woke issue so much.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to do this topic was I thought that was an interesting statement to Ron DeSantis, because I think what Peter Thiel is saying is, I have money, I will back someone because I care about the country, but I'm not interested in putting any more of my fortune behind losers. I mean, that's the interpretation of it. And so I thought that as a catalyst, that it would be interesting to talk about how you run a winning campaign. Because next year in this state, I think there's going to be a large amount of Republican incumbents at the House and Senate level who receive challenges of people who are sick of their wallets being used like an amusement park by the Indiana Republican Party. And one of the things that these people, because they are largely going to be inexperienced people running for public office, that's what it is. It's angry guy who says, I'm going to do something about it, and runs and has no idea what he's doing. So a little free advice for all of those people. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of talk about how you run a successful campaign. And one of the ways you run a successful campaign, primaries are a little different, but by and large, you focus on and you coalesce around a couple of issues that the vast majority of people can find some acknowledgement that is an interest in their existence. So what I mean by that is what Peter Thiel is saying is Ron DeSantis's fight with Disney World, or they call it Don't Say Gay. It's a terrible name to name the bill. The Parental Rights and Education Bill is the actual name of the bill. Those are issues that, while important, do not necessarily resonate with the majority of people because they don't get it and their attention span does not allow them to dive into it. Is it important to address those issues if elected? Yes. But as Chris Spangle, who is from We Are Libertarians, told us the other day, one of the reasons Mitch Daniels was largely successful as a governor was he addressed issues that the majority of people said, I understand this. Thanks for simplifying it. Thanks for telling me how it impacts me. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And so when you run for public office, whether it's from town council, mayor, state house, U.S. House, state, U.S. Senate, even the presidency in the case of Ron DeSantis, you've got to pick 3 or 4 core issues, and you've got to live or die with those issues, and you've got to not get off those issues.
Right. You have to stay on message. So he's saying that DeSantis has been focusing on identity politics, and Florida is where woke goes to die. And we all know that about Ron DeSantis. But he said he's got to get on to economics.
Right.
Because that is something that affects every person, whether you agree or disagree with the woke. Economics and how it affects your wallet is something that everybody experiences.
And the reality is, look, if you're hearing our voice right now, there's a good chance you are uber into politics, you're into government, you have a passion for it. You get why the radical left agenda in, say, like a public education is harmful. You get, when we say woke, what we're talking about. The average person, though, does not, and they do not engage enough to understand it. What they do understand, though, is that their property taxes have gone up 30%. What they do understand is that their property taxes have gone up 40%. They do now understand, maybe like they didn't before, that assessment that just showed up in the mail or is showing up in the mail is going to harm them next year. You have an attentive audience here in the state of Indiana on that issue. It's why I've told people, if you're going to run next year, property taxes, especially in a Republican primary, don't get off it. It will be like a rocket fuel in terms of challenging incumbents who will be overfunded. Gas tax, another great example. Hey, you sick of the price of gas? Be 65 cents or what, it changes every month. But 60 to 65 cents of what you pay at the pump is because of the Indiana Republicans. Those are things that everybody can get their head around. And when they go vote, they say, that's the guy that's going to make my gas cheaper. That's the guy that's going to make my mortgage payment cheaper or my property taxes cheaper. You can govern on the other things. But when you run a campaign, whether you're Ron DeSantis or town council, you've got to focus on a set of core things that everybody can participate in.
So there's the 3 C's: clear, concise, consistent. And you have to do that over and over and over again. And it's to the point where you're sick of saying it. And when people are finally getting sick of hearing it, that's when it starts to sink in. There's a reason why music radio stations, like a top 40, for example, will play the same songs over and over and over again. And by the time the listener is saying, I'm sick of that song, oh, well, that's when they're just finally getting it, right? They say it takes 3 to 7 times for you to hear one message before it even resonates with you. So that's why clear, concise, consistent, over and over and over again. And the other pillar of marketing is expectation, realization, memory. Tell me what you're going to do it, remind me of what you did.
Speaking of Ron DeSantis, he did get this, and this really surprised me. he has a massive fundraising advantage on Donald Trump.
Yes, $226 million is what he raised from his friends of Ron DeSantis. I mean, this is incredible. And he has more money in total than Donald Trump. The problem here, though, is that some of DeSantis's funds are in a Florida PAC, which could present a problem in a presidential campaign. Can he use that money nationally?
Yeah, so Ron DeSantis, as you said, has raised, and this is a staggering amount of money for a governor, $226 million since January of 2018. So what is that? 5 years. That is basically 40, what would that be? $46 million a year this guy has pulled in. And he's got an exorbitant amount of cash on hand, about $86 million, compared to Trump, who
$32 million.
Yeah, I mean, it really is amazing when they talk about, well, Trump is the inevitable nominee, and you might as well just get on bended knee and kiss his ring finger. Money is not everything, as we saw with Jeb Bush in 2016. He had all the money. But money, just like in Vegas, like, does Vegas always get the sports betting odds right? No. But when you see money moving in Vegas, people are moving money in Vegas to make money. They're not running a soup kitchen over there. There's a reason the money is moving there. That's what they think is going to happen. And the fact that DeSantis is so far ahead of Trump in terms of fundraising, during which time Trump actually had the power of the presidency at his disposal, that is a very good sign for Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, and especially now that this Peter Thiel has come out and said that he's going to back Ron DeSantis and giving him pointers on how to change his message to get more money from him. Well, that total's just going to go up for him.
Casey.
Yes.
When we come back.
What?
Some great news for you.
Yeah?
I know you were very concerned. I also know Kev was very concerned. Your favorite artist, Ed Sheeran.
Yes, I'm actually very happy about the outcome.
I know
of this.
you were. I know, as we had said the other day, we were all deeply concerned.
So concerned.
Ed Sheeran had said if he lost this lawsuit, that he was going to be out of music.
Yeah.
And boy, I'll just tell you, with all the meaningful music he's made over the years, and well, I mean, you look at him and you say, that's a dude I want to look like and a dude I want to be like. I mean, if you look up alpha male in the dictionary, there's a giant photo of Ed Sheeran.
You think so?
He did prevail in court yesterday, so that is some good news for you and for Kev and all the alpha males out there.
Yeah, it's on the way from 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the jobs numbers are out, but do they tell the story of a growing economy? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Give your small business one tech solution that checks all the boxes. It's all here with the Comcast Business Complete Connectivity Solution. It's cyber threat security for peace of mind. Check. The power of the largest, fastest, reliable network for small business. That's a triple box check right there. And save up to 75% a year on your wireless bill with Comcast Business Mobile. Check and cha-ching. It's everything you need to keep your business connected. From the company powered by the next generation 10G network. The Complete Connectivity Solution. Get started for just $40 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. And ask about an $800 prepaid card. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Ends 5/21/23. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill AutoPay and new 100 megabits per second and Security Edge service. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Compares weighted average of top 3 carriers. Savings vary. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save on the brands you trust. Right now, buy a DeWalt 9-gallon corded shop vacuum with accessories at a new low price of $99. Plus, as an MVPs member, earn 3 bonus points per dollar when you buy select concrete mix. You can then redeem for rewards. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. While supplies last, discount taken at time of purchase. See associate for details. Valid through 5/17. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 6/2. Subject to change.
Is your Generac home standby generator overdue for annual maintenance or an oil change? Schedule an inspection with a certified tech at Generator Supercenter to ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
9:45 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Ed Sheeran broke down in tears as the New York court said he did not copy Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On.
Okay, so Ed Sheeran, this is the same guy, right, that years ago had to stroke a huge-ass check. I'm sorry, I said I wasn't going to say that word anymore, even though I can say that word. I'm going to use better appropriate language on the airwaves. A huge old check to, that's for our listener Jude, who told me I really got to, even though I can say things, should I say things, a huge old check to Tom Petty and I think Jeff Lynne, right? Because he had used something
in his song Shape of You.
Is that what it was? So it's not like this is some guy who, is some innocent victim in terms of the world of getting really close to other people's stuff and recreating it as his own. He was accused of, what was it? What do they call it? Sampling? Is that what it's called? I mean,
copyright infringement.
Okay. Of Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On in the song Thinking Out Loud.
Yes.
Now, I go ahead. Yes.
Well, he won.
They said he did not.
The jury said, no, you didn't steal Marvin Gaye's song. Your Thinking Out Loud is your own, and you won. Congratulations.
Well, let's start by saying OJ got off too, so that doesn't mean anything. It just means he convinced a group of people that he didn't. I'm going to say if it's the second time, like if you've been in that world before where you've financially had to give someone money because which is basically an admission, that something near that happened, and then you do it again. One time, okay. 2 times, it's like, wow, this is really becoming a thing here.
Raising questions, which is why he said that if he didn't win, he was going to be done with music forever.
And you know my response to that, Casey, and I'll give it to you again. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh.
I mean, it's terrible.
Oh,
no.
I like Ed Sheeran's music. I actually would like to see him in concert. I hope that one day he'll come here to Indianapolis so that I can enjoy him. But he said that he is nobody's piggy bank, so I guess he'll continue to make music.
Like artists everywhere, Amy and I work hard to independently create songs which are often based around real-life personal experience. It's devastating to be accused of stealing someone else's song when we've put so much work into our livelihoods. I'm just a guy with a guitar who loves writing music for people to enjoy. I am not and will never allow myself to be a piggy bank for anyone to shake.
Okay.
Okay. And I get that I like people who came from a different time, when kind of music was done in a different fashion. And for me, in the era of music in which I enjoy, a big part of it was a buy-in to the artist himself. Like you looked at the dude and you said, I can see myself being that dude, or I want to be that dude. Like part of my favorite artist persona was, it's this uber jacked up guy who's going to go out there and play like a maniac for 4 hours. And by the time he's done, needs a shower after the first song. So it's a buy-in to the persona of one dude to another dude.
Yeah.
I can see myself being that guy on stage. And much of kind of what I do here, while it's not music, is sort of the same thing. You leave it all at the office every day. You try to inspire as many people as you can. And then you check out and you get up and do it again tomorrow. Kev, what red-blooded American male looks at Ed Sheeran and goes, I want to be that guy? Just look at him.
He's a pretty average Joe, I would say.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people see that and they're like, well, yeah, that could be me.
Right.
Rob's got his hoodie on right now. He kind of looks like Ed Sheeran. But
if he can make it in the music industry, maybe I can too.
Yeah, well, it's also worth mentioning that most of his fan base is young women.
Is it women? Is that who goes
to, or teenage girls, probably?
Is that who goes to? But look at him. It's not like it's Justin Timberlake.
He doesn't have to be a supermodel, good-looking fella to write a good song. If you can relate to the lyrics and the melody, then that's all you need.
But aren't all his songs kind of the same? Isn't he like a Taylor Swift, where at some point you just go, dude, grow up? I mean, aren't all of his songs, like there's no evolution as an artist? Aren't kind of all his songs the same?
About love loss?
Yeah, like, dude, at some point, maybe the problem is you.
Guy gets girl, guy loses girl, guy gets girl back.
Like,
well,
there's
you've
just
just, that's every movie, too.
Right there, but how old is Ed Sheeran? I mean, it's one thing when you're in your early 20s doing this. Let's see, I'm going to say he's 35. What do you say? Price is Right rules, you go over, you lose.
I'm going to say 38.
Okay, 35.
33.
33, 35, 38. Ed Sheeran is... Oh, we're all wrong. He's 32.
Oh,
I was close.
Yeah, but you still went over, so you lost.
yeah.
No one wins the
Nobody
showcase.
gets to the showcase showdown.
Okay, so he started in his early 20s. He was like 21 years old. Okay, fine. But at 32...
You're saying move on.
I mean something else. There must be something meaningful that has happened in your life other than just continuing to lose women.
But we had just talked about developing a brand, and he has developed a brand. He does the same thing. He does it over and over again, and that is why he's successful.
But I understand, Casey, but there has to be a point as a consumer of the music. It's like why I do not get the Taylor Swift thing. It is just the same crap since like 2009.
But it sells and people like it. So why would you walk away from that?
Yeah, it's the recipe for success.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I don't know, like...
Are you talking artistic integrity?
Like self-reflection, personal integrity.
Yep. Well, in regards to this court case, he has said that there are melodies and 4 chords, and these are the building blocks, and that's what people have used to create music long before the Marvin Gaye song. It's what they'll use long after Ed Sheeran is long gone and removed from the music world. And he went on to say it's like a painter trying to say that they own the color blue.
I would think it's got to be pretty blatant to win a case like this because, like you said, there are only so many chords you can play.
Right, and that was his point.
Now, I saw John Fogerty. He was the CCR guy. He was a big Ed Sheeran supporter, which is interesting because some of our older members of the audience may remember John Fogerty got sued after he left CCR for like sounding too much like himself. He did an album called Center Field, like was kind of his big comeback album in the mid 80s. And it had a bunch of big hits, Rock and Roll Girls, Center Field. And he had to go into court and actually he was playing songs for this judge from the witness stand. It was like one of the most amazing things ever. He's like on the stand playing guitar. And the judge was finally like, but dude, that's just the way you sound. Like, yeah, CCR is going to sound like your solo stuff. That's freaking the way you sound. That's how you sing. That's how you play guitar.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Well, Ed Sheeran had to play as well to prove that it was his song. Same thing. I mean, he's going to sound how he's
If you are a
sound,
person
right?
who consumes this guy's music, I mean, it's like if Carrot Top were a musician.
I don't think it's that bad. You're being awfully hard on Ed Sheeran.
Well, look, here, my thing is, if you do something once, okay. And we can all part
if
friends.
you do it successfully, what? That's the only time you get to do it?
No, I'm talking about, he gave money to Tom Petty, and I think Jeff Lynne was the other guy, because he clearly was saying, yeah, we're going to lose more if we go to court. Now we're back here again. I don't know.
Well, is it because he's actually borrowing the music, or is it because there's somebody who's wanting to get into his pocket?
Well,
and take
there's a line though. Very early on in my radio career, someone who I really admired told me plagiarism is the greatest form of flattery, and in that sense, like we all borrow something in our broadcasting careers from someone who inspired us when we were younger, and I'm no different than that. But but there's a fine line between, hey, I want to emulate something that I've heard that really mattered to me, and I'm just patently just lifting someone else's stuff.
Well, the jury said that he was not.
Yeah, and the jury said OJ didn't do it either.
I think people are just trying to get in his pockets.
You like this guy, don't you?
I don't really listen to his music, but I've seen some of his live performances, and it seems like, he has like a loop pedal, and he can really carry a show, I think.
You're so snowed. You're totally in this guy's camp.
Some people like Ed Sheeran, some people like Taylor Swift, and you know what, Rob Kendall? That's okay. It's Kendall and Casey.
They're ruining it for the rest of us, Casey.
It's 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Saia LTL Freight. For nearly a century, our trucks have been hitting the roads to haul the goods that keep companies and communities moving forward. From Lady Liberty to the Golden Gate, we're an essential supply chain provider for small, medium, and large businesses across North America. We go the extra mile to help your business grow, because when you succeed, so do we. So whether you're running a superstore or a local corner store, you can trust Saia's reliable LTL service to get you where you need to be. We lead with a first-rate commitment to safety and always put our customers first, no matter the shipment. So trust that when you partner with Saia for your supply chain needs, we take every delivery personally. Visit Saia.com for all your shipping and logistics needs. That's SAIA.com.
Can you hear it? That's the sound of memories. And making those memories is about to get a whole lot easier. Sportsman's Warehouse is coming to Brownsburg. Join us for our grand opening celebration May 4th through 6th, and let us help you make new memories this year. Gear up for unforgettable at Sportsman's Warehouse.
Helzberg Diamonds presents The Guy Who Did His Homework. When it came to Jill's engagement ring, Brady knew exactly what to get.
Okay, so I came up with a design and showed it to all of our friends.
She'll love it.
Then he went to Helzberg. Their incredible selection of high-quality, lab-grown, and natural diamonds made creating that special ring easy. Her reaction?
I love it. Can't wait to tell everybody.
Everybody might know about it.
Be like Brady. Create the ring of your dreams at a Helzberg near you or at Helzberg.com. Ask now about special financing offers.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Mecum Auctions, the world's largest collector car auction company, returns to Indy with Dana Mecum's 36th Original Spring Classic, May 12th through the 20th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. 3,000 muscle cars, Corvettes, exotics, and more. Broadcast live on Motor Trend TV and Motor Trend Plus. From avid collectors to those new to the Mecum experience, we welcome everyone. Register to bid now at Mecum.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today.
Today.
The greenhouse is full of color at Sundown Gardens. There's a full array of tropicals and ferns, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com, sundowngardens.com.
I'm Sasha Nixon. You've got your news coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News at 10 o'clock. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Stocks are rising after a lot of hiring. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. The Dow is up more than 400 points, rebounding from recent sell-offs after this report on the economy.
There were 253,000 new jobs created in April. The unemployment rate declined to 3.4%.
That matches a 54-year low. And while that rate and the hiring number were both better than expected, this was not expected.
The Labor Department revised February and March's reports to show 149,000 fewer jobs created than previously reported.
Fox's Ginny Casol Well, President Biden will speak out in reaction next hour. He tweeted his plan to invest in America is working. First Lady Jill Biden has arrived in Britain for tomorrow's coronation for King Charles, who is out greeting the commoners today. That was the king outside Buckingham Palace. Americans ought to be up early to watch tomorrow the king's coronation about 5 a.m. Eastern time. COVID hasn't gone away, but it's not what it was. So the World Health Organization just announced COVID no longer qualifies as a global emergency, more than 3 years after the virus was declared a pandemic, and it's blamed for over 7 million deaths globally, more than 1 million of them in the U.S., where a COVID public health emergency expires next Thursday. In Serbia, they've arrested a gunman in a second mass shooting there in 2 days. It left 8 dead, 14 wounded.
His motive is not known, but reportedly the man was wearing a T-shirt with Nazi symbols on it. It took an overnight manhunt to find him. This follows a massacre in a Belgrade school Wednesday, carried out by a 13-year-old boy using his parents' guns. Serbia's president was quick Friday to announce plans to, quote, practically disarm the country.
Fox's Amy Kellogg in New York City. Protest demanding a Marine veteran be arrested in the death of a homeless man, putting Jordan Neely in a chokehold to restrain him on a subway train. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Updates on the standoff. 60 degrees and sunny here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Richmond police got into a standoff with an 81-year-old suspected shooter Thursday afternoon, which ended with the suspect shot by police. Officers went to Rich Road, where 42-year-old Christina Reed had been shot. However, when they arrived, 81-year-old Charles Adams barricaded himself inside his next-door home. Eventually, multiple SWAT teams were called to the scene, and chemical agents were used in an effort to get Adams out. It seems he responded by pointing a gun at police, so he was shot. He and Reed were both taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The family of an IU student killed in a drunk driving crash last year is suing the bar where the driver had been drinking. Kurt Darling reports.
Nathaniel Stratton was hit and killed by Madeline Howard. Stratton had been on a rental scooter in Bloomington that evening in September of 2022 when he was hit. His family is already suing her for wrongful death, but they're adding Kilroy's Sports Bar as a defendant. They claim that the bar overserved Howard that night before the wreck. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Indiana Comic Convention, commonly referred to as Comic-Con, kicks off today at the Indiana Convention Center. This year's celebrity guests include the Flash actor Grant Gustin and Sons of Anarchy star Charlie Hunnam. Get tickets online at indianacomicconvention.com. A bill that requires parents to be told if their child wants to change their name or pronoun was signed by Governor Holcomb Thursday.
And that means that the bill is now law. I'm Sean Herrick. It also bans teachers from teaching human sexuality to students from kindergarten to third grade. Those against it say this will cause transgender students to be unsafe in their own homes once their parents find out. Those who support the bill say parents have a right to know. There are no bills left for Holcomb to sign. Sean Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And I'm Sasha Nixon. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Are your investments going nowhere? Here's a tip that always pays big dividends. Invest in yourself, your talent, your smarts, your skills. Maybe it's time to make that investment and start a career in IT or upskill to boost your current career. At My Computer Career, you can bank on us. We'll help you get the right skills and the right certifications to start or advance your IT career. IT keeps growing, so go with the growth at My Computer Career. The right training, the right timing, the right career. Invest in you at mycomputercareer.edu. Start now.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's spring flowers headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 5th. It is 5 minutes after 10. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. You can find us both on Twitter, Rob M. Kendall and Casey Daniels 317. You can also find us on YouTube, right now as we're streaming live. All you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. We're glad you're joining us on this Friday. A whistleblower is alleging that the FBI and the Justice Department are in possession of a document that describes a criminal scheme involving the then Vice President Joe Biden and a foreign national. And this is in relation to the exchange of money for policy decisions. So will the president, the now president, classify this document? Will we ever find out what country this foreign national is from? Will we ever find out what is the policy decision that was changed? Well, Senator Josh Hawley has a few things to say about this.
This is interesting because it kind of popped up out of nowhere, and there's so much stuff on Biden, especially allegations against Biden, that it's hard to keep track of all of them. But for whatever reason, this allegation, this alleged existence of the whistleblower and the corresponding evidence has really gained a lot of traction over the past couple days. Like, it is at the forefront now of the Republican investigation in the House to Biden. James Comer, from the representative from Kentucky, head of oversight, and then Grassley, who's basically his counterpart on the Senate, a senator from Iowa, Chuck Grassley, also 9,000 years old, have now tried to subpoena the FBI to get them to testify on this. So whatever this thing is, the Republicans must believe there's some legs to it, because they are investing a lot of time and capital into talking about this supposed whistleblower and the information and evidence that he or she has.
And it's also being reported now that the FBI is taking this very seriously. And a lot of these GOP people, they're saying that we need to release the document, release the evidence, and if there needs to be special counsel, we'll go ahead and appoint one. But this is the real thing.
So here is Josh Hawley, and he said it straight up. The public deserves to know if Joe Biden is a crook.
Yeah, and particularly because what the whistleblower has said is the FBI has been in possession of this information about Joe Biden for months, potentially years. So the allegation is the FBI hasn't acted on it, that there has been interference. We need to know the facts here. Release the document, release the evidence. If there needs to be a special counsel, appoint one. But the only way the American people are going to have confidence is if the information's out there. What is it they used to say about Richard Nixon? They deserve to know if the president's a crook. We deserve to know if this president's a crook. Let's get the information.
Well, I think, yeah, the American people need to know if Biden sold out the United States.
I like when we play Josh Hawley audio because he sounds like he should be a weekend news anchor on ABC. Doesn't he just have weekend news anchor voice?
He does have a very smooth delivery.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, again, obviously you're not going to get any cooperation from Biden or the Democrats. And I think it has been proven time and again that our country is basically run by a cabal of nameless, faceless bureaucrats who work against the American people. So we'll see what the Republicans can come up with.
Well, it'll be really interesting to see, though, if the DOJ and the FBI, if they're gonna do this independently and objectively. I know, you laugh, and that's the thing. That's why they're subpoenaing this letter. It's got to be free from any influence from these agencies.
You're such a beautiful...
Are they going to play ball? Are they going to keep shielding Joe Biden?
You have such a beautiful soul, and I'm so glad we have a radio show together. And one of the things I love about you is you're optimistic enough to think that our government, our law enforcement in this nation will work in a fair and just and timely manner to get vital information about elected officials out to the American public. You're just the best.
I'm precious, I know. Let's talk about Joe Manchin. He sparked speculation that he may leave the Democrat Party ahead of, 24. He may go to this No Labels. He's got a relationship with No Labels. It's a political group that's been trying to allow all 50 states to have a third-party candidate in a presidential election for a while now.
So No Labels is basically a group who wants Democrats who can't win in Republican states to be able to win, and they've come up with this No Labels thing, or people would run together for candidacies, or they'd run as independents. I mean, I've never understood what an independent is. I get people say, I'm an independent. Well, okay. What that means is you vote for different parties, but you're not independent. I mean, on the issues, right? You have a stance. You have a stance on whether it is okay from conception to live birth to suck the brains out of a defenseless fetus. You have a stance on that. You're not independent on that. You have a stance on whether 6.3 million illegal immigrants should be able to cross the southern border. You have an opinion on that. You have an opinion on whether you think the property taxes in this state are completely out of control or not. I mean, I'm an independent. Well, I think people just tell themselves that to make themselves feel more important. You have to work for my vote.
Well, I think it just means that they agree with Republicans sometime and Democrats sometime.
But how is that even
And there's
a
not
thing?
one candidate who's covering all the bases for them.
How
You know, in Indiana, if you say you're independent, that means you can't vote for candidates in the primary.
Well, think about how rigged our primary system is here. You're 100% right, Casey. In Indiana, you have to declare
which party
when you go vote.
Yeah.
You have to identify with one of these two underachieving colossal piles of crap in order to participate in the local government process. And they've so rigged the system now to where, let's say you decide, okay, here's a great example. Let's say you live in a community where, for whatever reason, you're a Republican, but you desire to have an influence over your local community. And you live in a community where predominantly Democrats win elections. Now, those are few and far between here in Indianapolis. But let's just say you'd made a calculated decision. Hey, Jefferson Shreve or Abdul Hakim Shabazz have no chance against Joe Hogsett. I believe the best chance to get rid of Joe Hogsett is to get him in a primary. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to vote to get Robin Shackelford across the finish line. Well, the system is so rigged now that even though you are an actual Republican voter, but want to have a positive influence on your community and vote for the best person in a primary who's the overwhelming favorite, would be the overwhelming favorite to win, you are now essentially barred from running for public office if they want to stop you under that banner, because you have to vote the last two times you voted in a certain primary in order to be considered in good standing, or otherwise they can bounce you off the ballot if the party boss doesn't like you in your county.
And just last week, if you were to go vote, for example, in Indianapolis and say I'm independent, and you go to vote, well, you don't even have the opportunity to vote for Abdul or Jefferson Shreve because it doesn't even show up.
The only thing you would get if you said I want a nonpartisan ballot is the referendum. That would be all that you would get. So the system here is totally rigged. Now back to Joe Manchin. This is a highly fraudulent person. This is a person who is everything that is wrong with politics and government. This is a person that has managed to enrich himself greatly during his time, especially in the U.S. Senate. He was a governor of West Virginia before that. He is a guy who lied to the American people about standing up to the Democrats, then caved to the Democrats, voted for this green dream with all the tax increases and government overreach, and then has the audacity to go on national television and go, well, these parties, they aren't working for the American people anymore. Well, they're your party, buddy, and you vote with them 90% of the time. You are the problem. You are, when you talk about it not working for the people, not working for the people is going on national TV and declaring something dead because it doesn't work, which he was right, and then 6 months later, oh, I changed my mind.
Well, that's because he's probably getting a hard time from his constituents in his deep red state, which he is supposed to represent.
Well, and to quote the famed philosopher Pitbull in regards to the election, he's going down. He's yelling timber.
Right, and now there's speculation that he could run on a nationwide ticket. Will he run for president on this no labels ticket? He's been part of this no labels group since December of 2010. He said people are starving to work together.
No, they aren't.
This constant daily routine of everyone's against everyone. Everyone's fighting and arguing. Let's be for the country and get something done.
But what the hell does that mean? What in the world does that mean? Let's work for the country and get something done. You just did something. You passed a massive government overreach and a massive colossal group of tax increases after you lied to the American people and said you wouldn't do that. Well, your party controlled everything for 2 years. The Republicans couldn't stop anything if they wanted to, as you proved, based on the fact that you used reconciliation to jam through the bill where you lied to the American people. It has nothing to do with inflation reduction. It's a total climate overreach bill. You guys could do whatever you want. And yet this is what they do. People sit around in Washington who have been there forever, and they whine and they complain and they bemoan. You have had all sorts of time to do something about this.
He kind of sounds like Fauci, doesn't he? Let's not live in the past. Don't pay attention what I did before.
Well, I hope he runs again for re-election, because he's going to get beat into the dirt in West Virginia, which is now overwhelmingly Republican, and he knows, he's reading the tea leaves, he knows what's about to happen, and so I hope, he probably won't, he probably just wimp out and say, I'm not doing it again, but that's too bad. Casey, when we come back.
Yes.
There's this letter now that was apparently written by one of the Menendez brothers that people are claiming now exonerates them. Now, there's no doubt they killed their parents.
And would prove their innocence.
But of course, the trial centered around this alleged abuse by the father. The mother was kind of a willing participant by not saying anything. She knew what was going on. And now there's this supposed letter that people are claiming, well, they should have been found not guilty. This letter proves all the things that they said at the trial.
Proves the abuse. Yeah. All right. That's on the way from 93 WIBC.
The pothole. Formed in colder months, tiny fissures are born. And in no time at all, they grow into big, gigantic tire killers. That's why you need Matt Baird Traffic.
Watch out on Keystone Avenue.
He'll guide you around these hidden monsters.
Yeah, might as well call it a basement.
And on to safer ground.
You don't want to be in the far left lane.
Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
A well-maintained garage is the key to a safe, organized home. Hey, good morning. It's Casey. But without proper protection, the floor of your garage can quickly become worn and unraveled over time due to wear and tear, spills, and other environmental factors. Well, that's why Galaxy Concrete Coatings is here to help. Call them in Fishers at 317-751-9070 for indoor and outdoor concrete. For your driveway, pool deck coating, patio, your garage, it's UV and yellow resistant and less hotter than regular concrete. Call them today or find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Come into Bell Tire today. You'll get the lowest tire price, period. Like up to $150 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires. You'll also get a guy who will give you free lifetime flat repairs, tire rotations, and alignment checks. Get up to $150 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires, plus more free services and more out of your tires and more for your money. It's how we make the lowest tire price feel even lower at Bell Tire. See store and belltire.com for details and offer expiration.
Do bank closures, inflation rate hikes, and the roller coaster of the market frighten you as much as it does me? You need to call Oxford Gold. Securing your IRA or 401k with real gold and silver is a portfolio protection plan, and Oxford Gold has made it as easy as 1, 2, 3. One app, one call, and you pick the precious metals. That's it. You now own real precious metals. Call Oxford Gold today and learn more about the 1, 2, 3 protection plan at 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake kitchen and bath cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
He's out of control.
And Casey Daniels.
Isn't she the best?
On 93 WIBC.
19 minutes after 10, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Very good, Kevin. Did you even know that I was going to talk about this Rick Springfield concert right now?
Well, you were talking to me about it yesterday, about how he's coming to town.
Yeah, that's one of the trending stories this hour. Rick Springfield going to perform at the White River State Park on Saturday, August 5th. Tickets went on sale about 19 minutes ago, and he's not going to be alone. This is the I Want My 80s tour. Along with Rick Springfield, you've got the Hooters, Paul Young, and also Tommy Two-Tone.
You know, that's actually not a bad lineup. We should certainly try to get some of them on the show. Kev loves Rick Springfield. He's one of your favorites.
Yeah, I will be at that show.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what a great reason to go. You can meet Kevin McNamara of the Kendall and Casey show, and you could probably, I would guess, I don't want to speak for Kev, but if someone wanted to buy you a high-end craft beer of some sort, you might sit sit there and talk with them for a while.
Yeah, I'm open to that.
See,
Sure.
absolutely.
There we go.
We got to try to get Rick Springfield on this show. I'm going to put you in charge of that.
And Tommy Two-Tone. Do you ever try and dial up 867-5309?
No, you know why? Because I'm a decent person.
It's a medical supply company.
Here in Indianapolis?
Well, it depends on what area code.
Well, that's my point, right?
Also
is
trending.
Is that the biggest jerk move in the history of music to use an actual phone number? I mean, some people in the 80s, that song was like 82 or something like that, had that as their actual phone number. And then they just start getting bombarded
with phone calls. Yeah. Let me talk to Jenny.
And it was in the day where, okay, if you, it wasn't like, you call now, call waiting, or call her, on your cellular telephone. If you were taking up someone's line, it was a busy signal. Their family couldn't call. If there was a medical emergency of some sort, they couldn't get out. What a jerk move.
Go ahead and pick up your phone and try and text it. See who you get.
No, absolutely not.
Also trending this morning, Larry Gator Rivers. He played and coached for 16 years with the Harlem Globetrotters. He has passed away at the age of 73.
What a great nickname, Gator.
Mm-hmm.
Gator.
Have you ever seen the Globetrotters? You've seen them, haven't you?
When I was a kid, I was very young. I think most people, when they think of the Harlem Globetrotters, they think of like the incarnation that was on Scooby-Doo. I believe that was in the 70s. That was probably the most famous group of Globetrotters, but they're still around.
Yep, still around, still touring, and still good family fun. Also trending, America's Roller Coast back for their 154th year. Cedar Point reopening this weekend. And finally, this audio, and this kicks Clinton's sax butt. Here's Vivek Ramaswamy on piano. Didn't know he knew how to play piano.
I am.
It's not perfect, but he still posted it.
No, here's what I'm very happy about with this show, Casey.
Yeah.
We are watching your love affair with this guy play out in real time. Oh my gosh! Here he is playing the piano.
Ladies do like a man who can play an instrument.
Now here he is adding up his savings at Costco. Oh my gosh!
22 minutes after 10 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. You want to talk about this bombshell letter written by one of the Menendez brothers to a cousin?
I think the Menendez brothers case is one of the most interesting in certainly modern American history. And I am old enough, again, you're a little more seasoned than me.
Just a day or two.
But I am old enough I was very young, but I remember that playing out in real time and how pre-OJ, that was probably the biggest American court case since Charles Manson. Yeah. I mean, in terms of, hey, every news outlet is covering the Menendez case, and every day you're getting home and you're tuning in to what happened, and people are taping the actual courtroom testimony and watching it over dinner. I mean, it was so big, and the fact that they went through two of them because the first one was a hung jury.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge.
So attorneys for Eric and Lyle, they have filed a petition seeking their release from prison. They have cited a new discovery that supports their claims that the boys were sexually abused by their father. Now, they claimed that in court the first two times, and the judge just dismissed it and told the jury not to consider that. They used that as their defense for murdering their father, which they admitted to. They did say that they did shoot their dad.
After they lied about it. They lied. They acted like, oh my gosh, there's this killer. I mean, they're the ones who called 911. Oh my gosh, somebody's killed our parents. Yeah, and then obviously they were arrested before they finally came. It wasn't like they walked into the police station and held their hand up and said, "Yep, we did it." I mean, they were trying to get away with it, which is largely why they got caught. Mm-hmm. The major red flag for those two, I mean, they would have caught him eventually, but was they went on just this massive spending spree of money. And I think the average person stopped and said, now, wait a second. If indeed you had suffered this high level of trauma to the point where you felt compelled in a fit of rage to kill your parents, one, you wouldn't hide that you were the culprit. You would call 911 and say, look, I just snapped. I don't know what I did. I need somebody to get here, whatever. Or at the very least, you wouldn't be out living the high life
Spending
over
the money.
executing your parents.
So this letter Eric sent to his cousin, and he sent it about 8 months before the killings, and it is supporting abuse claims if you believe it. The letter says, I've been trying to avoid Dad. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now. I can't explain it. He's so overweight that I can't stand to see him. And then the letter goes on to say, I know I'm afraid of him. You know I don't like Dad. He's crazy. And the boys have alleged for years that they were sexually abused by their father, and that's what made them kill him.
And look, that may have happened. It may not. There are numerous people who absolutely 100% refute what their claims were. I don't know. I wasn't there. The point is, though, if you had the ability to orchestrate the assassination of your parents, you also had the ability to go to law enforcement and say, I am being
and report
sexually abused by this person. Please help me. And it wasn't like they went and weren't believed. It wasn't as though they told their story to someone with an ability to do something about it. These were not even little kids. I mean, these were two adult males who made a conscientious choice to assassinate their parents. And the mother, while you could make, if indeed it happened, you could make a case she was complicit in it by not trying to stop him or not actually stopping him or not also reporting it to the authorities. She was not the one doing the abuse.
So the prosecutors in the case said that the abuse never happened. And now Eric and Lyle's attorneys are saying this letter proves that it did happen.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not convinced those guys didn't plot for over a year to try to pull this off.
Like that letter could have been fake.
I mean, it almost as a...
we're trying to arrange it.
Right. I mean, I've watched numerous documentaries on this case, and I've never found them to be sympathetic figures. I've never found them to be people where I've felt, oh my gosh, you poor kids. They never come off that way. Look, again, could anything have happened? Maybe. But the point is, you can't just go gunning people down as an adult. I mean, again, this is not a little your child who you found out as being harmed or whatever. These were adults who made a conscientious decision and were apparently so unbroken up by it, they just went on a massive spending spree after they tried to avoid, look, if they had said after the murder, hey, I did it in a fit of rage. I've been abused for years. I don't want anything. I don't want their money. I don't want this house. I'm glad they're gone. Hey, I'm listening. Now I'm paying attention because you've got some cred with me that I'm willing to figure out if indeed this happened. But they went out of their way to not get caught and spent all that money in the process.
And went on a spending spree, and this article has some updated pictures of them, which is shocking to see because in my mind's eye, this trial happened in 1989. There's still those two younger men. But now, of course, they've aged. One of them is bald now, and they're full-grown men. Okay, it's 10:28. We've got your voicemails coming up, and you have a social media etiquette question
I do.
well.
I do. I don't know when we'll get to that. We have some great voicemails, yes, and I have a social media etiquette question for you and Kevin. Yes, so much fun and frivolity on the way.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Spring in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
Was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad. And I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Hey, don't
it's vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's J&V, and the greenhouse is full of color at Sundown Gardens. Summer annuals and hanging baskets are arriving daily. 186th and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com. SundownGardens.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
They're suing. 63 degrees and sunny here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The family of an IU student killed in a drunk driving crash last year is suing the bar where the driver had been drinking. Kurt Darling reports.
Nathaniel Stratton was hit and killed by Madeline Howard. Stratton had been on a rental scooter in Bloomington that evening in September of 2022 when he was hit. His family is already suing her for wrongful death, but they're adding Kilroy's Sports Bar as a defendant. They claim that the bar overserved Howard that night before the wreck. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Indiana Comic Convention, also called Comic-Con, kicks off today at the Indiana Convention Center. This year's guests include Grant Gustin, Charlie Hunnam, Ron Perlman, and others. Get tickets online at indianacomicconvention.com. The average price for gas across the state is currently $3.45 per gallon, according to GasBuddy.com. I'm Sasha Nixon. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You don't have to be officially engaged to start looking at engagement rings together. I'm a jewelry consultant here at Chain Company, and we have couples come in all the time to see our great selection. A lot of them like to pick out their top 3 rings. They make it a date, and it's fun. With so many options to create a one-of-a-kind ring, you may not know where to start, and that's where we come in. We're here to help. Chain Company has over 1,000 engagement rings in every price range, from sparkling pave styles to elaborate halo designs. High-quality rings in yellow gold, white gold, rose gold, and platinum. For your center stone, Chain Company offers all shapes and sizes of natural diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and a broad spectrum of natural, colorful gemstones, from over a dozen colors of sapphires, to rubies, to peach morganite, and more. Come see us at Chain Company today, and have some fun picking out your engagement ring together.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Chain Company and ShaneCo.com.
Visit Damon's Lawn and Garden at 4914 Rockville Road for endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, and spectacular hanging baskets. Plus garden and landscape supplies. The knowledgeable staff is ready to assist you. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Damon's West and visit their website at Damon's.com. That's Damon's.com.
Damon's Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden centers.
Hubler makes it easy to get your perfect car or truck. Get your vehicle your way. They'll help you pre-order a vehicle built just for you. Visit drivehubler.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
It is 10:34 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. 317-684-8444. That's the phone number. It's the Friday edition of your voicemail, so let's make it good.
All right, so we talked yesterday about how Jennifer McCormick is going to run for governor. She is running on the Democrat side, which makes sense because she is basically a lifelong Democrat. And Holcomb and Hupfer, Eric Holcomb, the esteemed governor of the state, and Kyle Hupfer, the Indiana Republican Party chair, knew this in 2016 when they threw their full weight behind her at the Republican state convention to get her elected or nominated, running against a reliable, rock-solid conservative because, well, that's who they are, and they knew they would much rather do business with a Democrat than a conservative. And Jennifer McCormick proved to be everything most of us knew she would be. She is, if the angry red-shirted teachers had a mascot, it would be Jennifer McCormick. Maybe that'll be a good job for her when she inevitably loses the next governor's race. She could then become the official mascot of the angry red-shirted teachers. But she is the creation of Eric Holcomb and Kyle Hupfer. And so when people talk about, well, yeah, the Republicans are awful, but I can't vote for a libertarian or a third party because, well, we might get a Democrat in there. The Democrats are everywhere in state government. They just put R's next to their name. Mm-hmm. And these are the people who Holcomb and Hupfer have propped up. If it weren't for Holcomb and Hupfer, she would have never been the superintendent of education. And somebody called about that.
As you pointed out correctly so, basically she was only in there because Eric Holcomb and all of his friends liked her and they got her the nomination. And I think I blame her for most of the failures of the Indiana public school system. Because I got to see it firsthand as a public school kid, especially during my high school years, and I blame her for most of it too, as well as the school boards as well, and my school board. I'll go ahead and throw out a name, Center Grove. They're just a complete failure, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to go ahead and endorse her this time. But my take on her running for governor, she's just nothing more. It doesn't matter what party registry it is to me. She's Eric Holcomb in a dress. That is all she is to me. Anytime I see anything about her. Now, when I just saw her announced, I think she looks more like Eric Holcomb to me than anything else. Because policy, it's just going to be more of the same under her, just like it was with Holcomb. If, God forbid, she were to be governor, which is probably very unlikely. But if she were to be the case, so she'd have to run as a Republican. But if she were to be governor, she'd continue Holcomb's policies because they all agree on everything. And I don't think Holcomb has ever said a bad word about her. She would raise taxes like he has, raise the gas tax again. And the state will come crashing down if any more of these fools are elected in the governor's office, which is, again, why we need you.
Well, I'm not running, so hopefully somebody good will be. Speaking of which, Donald Rainwater will be with us Monday. Now, we are offering this to any person filing to run for governor. So whether it's Doden or Suzanne or Braun or McCormick. We're going to give Don and any of these other people, I'll give you a full hour to come on and talk about your stuff and your policies and what you want to do. And I have a feeling most of them will not be taking us up on that because, well, they don't have much of anything to offer. But maybe we'll be surprised and somebody will, because what an opportunity to win votes. But there is no difference between these parties at this point.
Isn't she the one who was Republican and switched her party halfway through, though?
Well, she switched after she got out. Well, she was a Democrat, and then they got fast and loose and somehow made her out to be a Republican. And then she became a Democrat again. So as the famed philosopher Homer Simpson once said, I guess some people never change or quickly change and then quickly change right back. But this was a creation of this Republican establishment that for some reason people are totally afraid to vote for someone other than them because they're worried about Democrats getting in there when in reality they are just Democrats.
Yep. The last time a Democrat won any statewide race, by the way, was in 2012.
Yes, that was Glenda Ritz, superintendent of public education. And yet, despite not winning anything, the Republican Party remains, so that's been 11 years. The Indiana Republican Party remains petrified of angry red-shirted teachers and is willing to completely screw you and your kid over and embolden these lunatics, despite the fact that they can't win anything.
But you know what's interesting about this, and we can move off of her, but during an interview, which was ahead of her campaign announcement, she was criticizing the Republican Party here in Indiana because she said they have a lack of support for traditional public schools. What? Have you seen the budget?
But that's the point. It's never enough. It doesn't matter. This is what we keep saying. It doesn't matter what you give these people. It's never enough because it's not about actually helping kids. It's not about actually making education better. It is about control, and it is about promoting their own pocketbooks. It is not about kids, and no amount of money is going to fix the flaws in the public education system. All right, somebody called. We talked yesterday about Ukraine, about how apparently Kevin McCarthy is all in on the never-ending money supply, despite saying during the campaign.
No blank check.
The blank check is now apparently back. Corinne Jean-Pierre said that there's a blank check back. I asked the very simple and I think fair question, where does all the money go? There's never been an ROI. There's never been an accounting. There's never been an audit. Where does the money go? Somebody called about that.
You'd probably describe me as a bleeding heart liberal, although I'd probably disagree with that. But I'm far more liberal than you are, for sure, and we probably don't agree on a whole lot. But you're absolutely 100% right, and I couldn't agree with you more about the spending in Ukraine. The reason we have a $29 trillion, whatever the number is because we just throw 150 billion here and 150 billion there, and these numbers, they act like a billion, 150 billion doesn't mean anything because the budget is so high. It's 29 trillion. What's 150 billion? 29 trillion of anything. 29 trillion dollar bills stacked one by one. Look it up. Look how high up it goes. 29 trillion gallons of water. I mean, this is insane. We're just throwing money right and left at everything, and we can agree that the Ukraine, whatever you want to call it, war, crisis, we're just throwing money away.
He agreed with you.
Yeah.
On that.
Well, I think any person, regardless of your political persuasion, with an ounce of common sense, would recognize, hey, I'd really like to know where my money went. I'd really like to know how my money's being spent. I'd like to know what I got for my money. I don't think that's a political thing. I think that's a common sense thing.
And it's hard to wrap your brain around how much money that is when you just keep adding zeros and zeros to it. It's out of our normal life.
And the reason they get away with it is the government rigs the monetary system and our public policy to prevent people from feeling pain. Because somebody else will eventually feel this pain for all this printed money.
I'm feeling it.
Well,
you're feeling it.
You are feeling it now in the sense of inflation, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm saying the pain we should actually be feeling. We have racked up 32 trillion, which is a number you can't even fathom. But yet people don't sit down and think of it that way because they're not the ones paying for it. And many, many people are just selfish, self-absorbed people who either don't think about it or don't even care if they do think about it. Well, my grandkids or children or whatever are going to get stuck paying for it. They just don't care. Politicians don't care either. And what we're doing is gross. What we're doing to future generations is gross. If you're a decent person who cares about others at all, you should find it appalling. But the magical money printing tour just keeps right on rolling. One more call. I know we're running short on time, but remember yesterday we talked about the kids working at the McDonald's?
Yes.
There was it was in Kentucky, wasn't it? Is that right?
It was in Louisville. However, I believe the franchisee owner owns locations in Indiana as well.
There were 10-year-old kids caught working at the McDonald's late into the evening.
And it was reported in some outlets that the kids weren't even being paid. Like, was that
okay? Well,
internship?
Look, so here's what I had said. I'd said, should kids be allowed to work around like heavy machinery? Mm-hmm. No. Should they be in any sort of environment where they're at some sort of danger? No. Is letting a kid work after midnight a good look? No. But this idea that people are just up in arms that a 10-year-old was working, well, our country was founded based on kids working. There was a time, Casey, where that's why people had kids, because they needed people to
get them busy on the farm.
So this idea of, oh my gosh, those poor children. There's lots of things kids could do. There's things I did at 10 years old to earn, extra money on the side. Mm-hmm. They could clean the restaurant or whatever.
Newspaper route.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just cutting grass.
Yeah, I mean, these Karens who are up in arms over the idea of a 10-year-old working is ridiculous, but somebody called about that.
Hey, Rob, Casey. I'm calling about your topic earlier about the 10-year-olds working at McDonald's down in Kentucky. And a couple things. One is there is a reason there's the age limit on where people can work, or kids especially, because, first of all, they're not mature enough to work at most places. They can, mow a lawn. I was a paper boy when I was 11, maybe babysit, things like that. And I'm fine with a family letting kids work on the farm or in their own private or, their own place, because then the parents are responsible. But you're talking about McDonald's, 10-year-olds. Most of them McDonald's. I think at least when I was working at McDonald's, you could be 15 and start working there, but you had to be at least 18 to close, even at a McDonald's when I was there back in the 80s. So I don't know, that may have changed, but most places you have to be at least 18 to work past, work unlimited hours, things like that. And also, a 10-year-old cleaning McDonald's is not a good idea either, because they use chemicals to clean most of these fast food places. Not like they're just using Windex. A lot of times it's bleach and other things that can be very harmful if you don't know how to use them correctly. So, and a 10-year-old cleaning McDonald's is not a great idea either. So anyway, just want to put my 2 cents in on that. So take care.
It's a good point. But how about the babysitting? I remember I would babysit when I was 12.
Yeah.
And after midnight, the rate went up by a quarter.
Oh, wow.
Whole quarter.
Talk about gouging your neighbors.
Oh, yeah. It was all a whole $1.25.
Wow.
But when you think about in terms of that, okay, you're putting a 12-year-old in charge of your babies while you go out for mom and dad date night.
Yeah.
Isn't that just a little bit more responsibility than mopping the back room of McDonald's?
Yeah, you're right. And this is what I come back to, which is that should be a parental decision. Like children, and I know this is an unpopular thing, but children are property of their parents until they become 18 years old. Now, obviously, there are rules and regulations. You can't abuse kids. You can't, whatever. But I'm saying in terms of decisions about children, I mean, if we're going to be consistently conservative, right, on the public schools that parents make the choice, well, then parents make the choice. And that is true in the workforce. A parent should be able to decide, as long as the kid is not put in some physical risk of danger, that he or she is mature enough to work whatever job. Again, this idea that people are up in arms that a 10-year-old might be sweeping the floor at a McDonald's. Like, why? It's like you said, you were in charge of
other humans.
Yes, at 12.
Right.
You pushing one of those little brooms that pick up the dust or whatever, way less stressful than being in charge of humans.
Now, I was a crew leader at Wendy's. That was my first real job.
That's why you have such a grudge on Wendy's.
Outside of babysitting.
That's why you're so fierce anytime we mention Wendy's.
No, that's why I know that you should dip your fries in the Frosty.
That's why the other day you were like, do you know how they make the chili?
Because I saw it firsthand. But I believe that you had to be 15 to be able to work there.
There's probably some level of the work that needs to be done and can be done that would require someone that age. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm saying is, if a child desires to do some non-dangerous form of work and the parent knows where they're at and believes they're up for it,
it's okay with
I don't think it's the end of the world. I mean, people were getting hung up on the age of these kids rather than what sort of work were they actually doing.
I'm a little disappointed that you didn't acknowledge that I was crew leader. That's a management position at Wendy's when I was 16, Rob.
I just love that 63 years later, you're still holding a grudge about how they make the chili.
63 years
Do you
later.
know how they make the chili?
Hey, we've got Hammer joining us next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Biggest stories in Indy. Beer sample Friday. Cinco de Mayo. These pants are coming off. 93 WIBC.
Diamonds Direct invites you to join us as we celebrate all the moms in our lives. This Mother's Day, we're giving Mom more to say thank you for all she does. With every fashion jewelry purchase of $2,500 or more, we'll give Mom a free customizable diamond initial pendant valued at nearly $800. We've put together an exceptional collection of meaningful gifts for any budget. The perfect heirloom pieces to pass down to the next generation of moms. Birthstone rings, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. This year, she deserves a gift that keeps giving, and at Diamonds Direct, that's our specialty. Timeless gifts of jewelry she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come. Now's a great time to upgrade her diamond studs or pendant with Diamonds Direct's unmatched 110% upgrade. Come let the experts at Diamonds Direct help you find that remarkable gift that says, "Cheers, Mom, for all you do and for who you are." Diamonds Direct. Get locations and store hours at diamondsdirect.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
The wait is over. Sportsman's Warehouse is here in Brownsburg, and we're inviting you to our grand opening celebration this weekend. Stop by May 4th through 6th to save big on outdoor favorites, and make sure to get there early to score free Sportsman's gear. Enter our grand opening sweepstakes for a chance to win gift cards, guns, binoculars, fishing gear, and more. Look for the QR codes in store. Gear up for unforgettable at Sportsman's Warehouse.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Your Mother's Day shopping has been made easy. All you have to do is go to PA Jewelers in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. With truly unbeatable prices, 70% less than competitors. Simple pieces to extravagant jewelry, a huge selection including designer and vintage pieces, and unique offerings from 5 different local jewelry artists. More than a kiss, PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, 317-858-3030. 858-3030.
Express your love for Mom with great deals from Family Dollar. Start her day with fresh coffee prepared with K-Cups from Green Mountain, Mick Cafe, or Donut Shop for only $6.95. Surprise her with something special like comfortable sleepwear from $8 to $10, casual dresses starting at $7, or gift cards and scented candles starting at only $5. Then wrap it all up with assorted gift bags and handmade cards for just $1.25. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like B&W Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
10:52, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and he is the front runner to have a mint julep during the 149th running of the Kentucky Derby, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. I'm talking about Hammer.
The Run for the Roses is tomorrow. I love this time of year because we have Cinco de Mayo, which is today, and I brought tacos for you.
I know,
guys.
that's awesome. Thank you.
Tacos in studio. And then you get into action at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but the Run for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby. I love this race as a gambling degenerate. It's one of my favorite events of the year. And in honor of the Run for the Roses, coming up tomorrow, Churchill Downs, we got a little Hammer and Nigel Records tribute song here for you. Now, when I wrote this song, I was listening to a lot of Poison, okay?
And down the stretch they come in the Kentucky Derby.
It's our first Derby. We drove down after work yesterday, so we're running on about 4 hours of sleep. I snuck whiskey in my bra earlier, an entire bottle. So, I mean, anything goes after that.
You know, I've never seen a race like this.
Come on! Surrounded by Kentucky hicks.
But I like it.
Yeah!
Woo! And I know you like it too. We're drinking so much booze.
Come on, baby, let's go.
We'll be in Kentucky. Down at Churchill Downs. Drinking mint juleps. Woo! Until we pass out on the ground. Wear your big hats, Casey, and make a big bet. And baby, talk derby to me.
There it is.
Very nice.
I snuck whiskey in my bra earlier. An entire bottle.
That was very well done, by the way. However, I was kind of thinking, Dan Fogelberg did a hit song called Run for the Roses, all about the Kentucky Derby, and I thought maybe that was where you're going. But
Hammer and Nigel Records greater than Dan Fogelberg. When Dan Fogelberg comes out with cocaine in the Ukraine, you let me know.
Well, he's dead, so he won't be coming out with anything else.
So I won.
I like
it when my enemies die, because I've got some enemies that are dead, and it's kind of like that meme where I've almost went to the funeral and just wanted to look at him and go, scoreboard.
I love that you consider Dan Fogelberg an enemy. What's coming up on the big show this afternoon?
Oh, man, it's Cinco de Mayo and it's Beer Sample Friday, so we're going to get loose, man. We're going to have a good time. Biggest stories of the day. A lot of fun guests. Tune in and check it out.
Thanks for the tacos, by the way.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Hammer. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-924-4418. 800-924-4418. 800-924-4418.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Live life to the fullest. You hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics is in the business of giving people back their quality of life, and not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible, utilizing regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. So where is your joint pain? Your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back? QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. No surgery, no downtime, and patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally be able to play golf, hike, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family. Whatever it is, don't wait one more day. Get started today with a call to QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation. QC Kinetics is in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel. So call 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
Mother's Day is less than 2 weeks away. Show your mom who the favorite child really is. Hellsberg Diamonds has an assortment of Mother's Day gifts, including keepsake pendants, diamond and gemstone stacking bands, and 14-karat gold hoops perfect for layering. Hellsberg Diamonds makes it easy to find a gift she'll love and that you hope she'll pass down one day, too. Visit one of Hellsberg Diamonds' area locations or at hellsberg.com. Hurry, Mother's Day is Sunday, May 14th.
Chapters of this story take a whole month to tell. This is May. It starts with twists and turns on the IMS road course for the GMR Grand Prix. Then PPG presents Armed Forces Indy 500 qualifying and the Firestone Fast 6 shootout. May continues with Indy's biggest party, Miller Lite Card Day. And all roads lead to the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. This is where heroes become legends and legends become legendary. This is May. Buy now and save. Get tickets at IMS.com.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
It's JMV, and the greenhouse is full of color at Sundown Gardens. The nursery has a wide selection of great plants and trees. 186th and Spring Mill Road, sundowngardens.com. That's sundowngardens.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake kitchen and bath cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
Gearing up for the race and hoping to solve a few problems. I'm Sasha Nixon. All of that and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
COVID is not the danger that it used to be. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The World Health Organization Director, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, just announced,
I declare COVID-19 over as a global health emergency. However, that does not mean COVID-19 is over as a global health threat.
Globally, over the course of the pandemic, officials estimated more than 760 million COVID cases and say 7 million people have died. 5 billion people have received at least one dose of vaccine.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. We got a better than expected jobs report this morning.
The unemployment rate, 3.4%, tying a near record low at from last January.
Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence says here's why that happened.
More people drop out of the workforce. 214,000 more people left the workforce, a much larger number than those who became employed or those who became unemployed in this report.
250,000 jobs were created, but the government revised February and March lower, 149,000 fewer jobs reported, or then first reported. The Dow up 420 points. We'll get President Biden's reaction later this hour. There's anger in New York City.
Say his name.
Over the death of a black homeless man, Jordan Neely, on a subway train. Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calls it murder as they demand a Marine veteran be arrested.
Now, this cell phone video of this deadly struggle in the subway continues to draw questions about what happened leading up to the moment a 24-year-old former Marine held Neely down on the ground in that chokehold. Witnesses say Neely was screaming and threatening passengers.
Well, that's Fox's Laura Ingle in New York. Now, that Marine veteran has not been charged, but the Manhattan District Attorney says the investigation continues. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Gearing up for the race. 65 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Patients at Peyton Manning Children's Hospital are getting into the spirit of the Indy 500 by singing the famous song you hear before the start of each race.
That gleaming candlelight,
still shining bright
through the sycamore for me.
That being back home again in Indiana. Ascension St. Vincent nurses and doctors say they are inspired by these children for maintaining a positive attitude considering how many of them have serious health issues. Making sure Hoosiers addicted to drugs don't fall off the wagon. Kurt Darling reports that that's the goal of a problem-solving court.
Like the one in Madison County run by Judge Angela Sims.
But I can equally sit down and point to, a lot of people that have been successful not only in the program, but have continued to maintain success and contribute in a very positive way.
She tells Wish TV that courts like hers should be in every county working with addicts through counseling, drug testing, and even job placement to overcome addiction. Only 58 counties, though, in the state have a drug court. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If you've been wanting to catch a performance of the Tony Award-winning musical Hamilton during its run in Indy, this weekend is your last chance for the season. If you would like to enjoy the spectacle at the Old National Center, get tickets online through indianapolis.broadway.com. The Indiana Comic Convention, commonly referred to as Comic-Con, kicks off today at the Indiana Convention Center. This year's guests include Flash actor Grant Gustin, Sons of Anarchy star Charlie Hunnam, and Ron Perlman. You can get tickets online at indianacomic-convention.com. The average price for gas across the state is currently $3.44 per gallon, according to GasBuddy.com. I'm Sasha Nixon. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Your neighbor Mark loves spring in Indy, but he hates to paint.
so he called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's spring flowers headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 5th. It is 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. Hey, this is a reminder that Sunday is prayer day on the south lawn of the State House, the Capitol building, at 4 p.m. There will be something going on there. Yesterday was the National Day of Prayer, which we're remiss. We forgot to mention that.
Yes, and I think Mike is doing something with that for the prayer. It's 4 p.m. Sunday at the State House, correct?
Yeah. Yep, on the South Lawn. It is Kendall and Casey, and let's talk about this. Brian Epstein's Island. Yeah, it's been sold. The 5-star, I don't know, you want to call it a resort, a hotel. It's got a 25-room retreat.
Well, let's be real clear. Jeffrey Epstein. Brian Epstein was a very famous music producer.
Wrong
I believe.
Epstein.
Yeah, wasn't he the Beatles manager?
Wrong Epstein. Completely different guy.
Yes, I hated to correct you. I thought we're about to talk about some horrific stuff, and then people are going to think, wow, boy, I just thought he was some kind old man who produced the Beatles.
No. Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry about that. His island. It's been snapped up for the low price of $60 million by a billionaire.
Now, that was a fraction of what the estate, or whatever you want to call it, was asking for. I think they were asking for $125 million. And yes, it is across the islands of Little St. James and Great St. James in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And this guy is planning on building a 25-room retreat. So he's basically planning on taking Epstein's Island, where all these horrific things occurred, and is
wanting to turn it into a resort. Like, who's going to go there?
Well, this was my question, why I put it at the top of the hour, was because, am I way off on saying that is just super sick that anyone would want to buy this thing given what took place there?
Buy it, but then to invite other people to come vacation there.
Well, what would you do with it if you bought it other than to do that? So that's my point. Like, why would any person want to have their name remotely associated with this, and why would you want to go stay there?
I would not. I can't even imagine. Can you imagine that? You get there. Okay, you get to Pedophile Island. Questionable why you'd go in the first place, but you get there. And you're checking in to this 5-star resort, which you probably paid a lot of money for your stay. And they're giving you the tour around, and okay, here are the keys to your room. We're putting you in the Prince Andrew suite.
Well, I think it's a little off in the sense of he's building stuff that wasn't there before. He's not taking the existing structures and saying, here's where Prince Andrew stayed and may or may not have had his way with underage girls. I think he's...
So a lot of renovation and remodeling is going to happen.
Right, that's correct. But again, I'll ask the same question, which is, why would you even want to do something on that property where this allegedly horrific stuff occurred? I mainly put this on the template at the top of the hour, where we put our most important stories, because I want to ask the question of why no one other than this woman who was associated with him has ever been charged. We know there were victims. We know he did it. We know what he was. Somebody went to this place and had these interactions with these underage girls. Their stories are, I mean, there's been all the documentaries done. There's no way they're all lying. The intricate details of the way they describe him and what happened. He clearly wasn't the only abuser. Where are the other arrests? They how can they not know? There's no way that place didn't have cameras bugged out the wazoo. Have we just moved on from this and been like, well, guess we'll never know?
Mm-hmm. People covering for their friends. That's my answer. That's the only thing I can come up with, is why haven't there been more arrests?
I mean,
because they're buddies, they're friends, they're covering for their friends.
Well, okay, but this is what I'm trying to get to. There are a lot of things out there about Epstein that when you first hear them, you kind of just assume, well, that's the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist people. But the further we go on this, and the reality that no one has been arrested, and then in the case of Prince Andrew, he just makes some financial deal with one of the girls and then just goes about his merry way. Mm-hmm. It does start to give more and more credence to when no one gets arrested. Somebody went there. There's no way they don't know or have evidence of who these people were. And if they don't know or have evidence, gosh darn it, Casey, you'd think they would spend every waking moment trying to figure out who these people were. So it does start to give credence that maybe the people who have the theories aren't just crazy lunatics. That maybe Jeffrey Epstein was somebody working in coordination with the government. I mean, you can say whatever you want about me for saying that, but how is that possible? That all of this stuff, there's been documentaries on it, he was arrested for it, she's in jail now for it. Clearly the government thought they did it. Mm-hmm. That's why they tried them or arrested them. Mm-hmm. But who are the people that they maneuvered around?
And all of the guests that went to that island, all of them claim innocence, that they had no idea about his crimes and that he became a monster, a different person behind closed doors. I mean, there's reports that there is a bathroom in this establishment that has 10 shower heads and it was used for orgies, and that there used to be pictures of naked underage girls plastered on the bathroom walls. Like, that was the worst of the worst. If we're getting reports of that, and nobody else knew?
I'm more convinced than ever, or I'm becoming more convinced than ever, and I was not a person who started with this. I initially thought these, some of these allegations were just completely ridiculous. I'm starting to become more convinced than ever that Jeffrey Epstein, I don't know in what shape, form, or fashion, was some way working with or inside or in coordination with. I mean, how did he make all his money? Like, they've never even proven how he made. Well, he was in finance. Doing what? How does someone amass that sort of wealth? I am more convinced than ever, or becoming more convinced than ever until someone proves otherwise, that Jeffrey Epstein may have indeed been, and I'm not saying this for any sort of dramatic effect, working either as a government agent or in coordination with the government to be able to assemble, I guess you would call it blackmail on people, very powerful people. Because what other logical explanation is there at this point? I'm totally willing to hear it. Call our hotline, 317-684-8444 if you have one. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying this to be facetious. I'm not saying this to be a smart aleck. What other logical explanation is there that you have all this eyewitness testimony? This guy was arrested. He magically, despite being, if you were to look up suicide risk in the dictionary, it'd be this guy. The guards aren't watching him. He magically is able to hang himself. She's in jail. Clearly, they think that he did it, the government, and yet no one else has been held accountable. What other explanation is there at this point, Casey? I'm totally willing to hear it.
Stephen Deckoff, the entrepreneur and investor who bought the property, bought the islands. He's saying he had never visited the islands. The first time he went there was after they were listed for sale, when he decided to put an offer on it. I mean, I just can't even imagine what you would do with the place other than just level it. You're going to spend that much money? You're buying the island, nothing else, because the buildings, you just tear it down.
I don't know, but the public...
And who would want to go there?
The public deserves to know who these people were who went there, and so I just thought this might be a catalyst for us to have that conversation, because I was totally, when this thing started, not a person that, oh my gosh, government conspiracy, there's all these famous people who are involved in this, and rich, powerful people, and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, the names are going to come out. Obviously they've got this guy, and they've got her, and the names are going to come out, and, one of them's going to talk, and, whatever. They never have.
Nope.
They never have. And so if there is a better explanation other than this guy was either working as a government agent or in coordination with the government to amass blackmail on people who were there, I'm totally willing to hear it, because I don't have a better explanation right now.
Let's talk about what's going on with Lionel Messi. He's been offered $400 million to play with the Saudi Pro League this summer. Saudi Arabia offering him $400 million. By the way, that is for 1 year.
Yes.
This isn't like a 5-year, 10-year contract. $400 million. This is 1 year.
Now, the reason, again, we try to put top stories on the top of the template. I just want to touch on this real quick. It is another, what I will call a very scary example of Saudi Arabia flaunting their infinite wealth, which is obtained by us refusing to have energy independence in this country. And you can chuckle at some soccer guy getting $400 million for 1 year, and you can chuckle at golfers at the tail end of their career getting $300 million to go play golf. But it is a flex. That's what this is. It is a flex of the wealth and might of Saudi Arabia, showing you what else they can do. And when they're doing with arms or nuclear weapons or their military, it ain't going to be funny then. And we are funding this because of our country's unwillingness to do basic things to provide energy independence.
So they're calling this sports washing.
Yeah.
And that is just an attempt to improve their nation's image and also divert your attention away from human rights records and also what you just said, how much money they have and how reliant the rest of the world is on their oil.
Yeah, and look, is Saudi Arabia a bad actor? Yes, absolutely. And would they probably do bad things to us if they thought they could get away with it? Yes. Are they, however, better than some of the other alternatives, such as, say, Iran or Syria in the area? Yes. But this is not something people should look at and chuckle about, because that is, as we said, a total flex by this country to show the world, look at how much money we have and look at what we can actually do.
It's not because Lionel Messi, I mean, many will say he is the greatest soccer player on earth, but $400 million for 1 year?
Right. That's correct.
Yeah.
Even I'm not worth that.
No, you are. We just don't have that kind of cash. It is 17 minutes after 11, and an Alabama baseball coach was fired after some mysterious bets were placed against his team, and that is on the way from 93 WIBC.
I remember those family moments listening to the Indianapolis 500.
The magic of May.
Pool party, grill out, beers, hot dogs, listen to the race.
The traditions.
The playing of taps right before the start of the race.
The drivers.
Rick Mears.
Elio Castroneves.
Al Unser Jr.
The memories.
Everybody tailgating and having a good time.
For more than 70 years.
AJ Foyt takes the lead from Eddie Saxon.
Your home of the Indianapolis 500. 93 WIBC.
Bank closures, inflation rate hikes, and the roller coaster of the market frighten you as much as it does me? You need to call Oxford Gold. Securing your IRA or 401k with real gold and silver is a portfolio protection plan, and Oxford Gold has made it as easy as 1, 2, 3. One app, one call, and you pick the precious metals. That's it. You now own real precious metals. Call Oxford Gold today and learn more about the 1, 2, 3 protection plan at 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Today is the day. After countless hours of research, cutting back expenses, and 9 months of anxiously waiting for her, today is the day you finally bring home your new car. It's also the day to protect her with an auto policy from Shelter Insurance. Our policies are competitively priced and include new car replacement coverage if anything were to happen to your new baby.
To find an agent near you, visit shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Visit Damon's Lawn and Garden at 4914 Rockville Road for endless varieties of trees, shrubs, vegetables, flowers, and spectacular hanging baskets. Plus garden and landscape supplies. The knowledgeable staff is ready to assist you. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Damon's West and visit their website at dammons.com. That's dammons.com.
Damon's Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden centers.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. The greenhouse is full of color with summer annuals and hanging baskets arriving daily. Don't forget about the beautiful tropicals and ferns in stock now at Sundown Gardens. You know, Sundown's nursery has a wide selection of great plants and trees, including some wonderful specimen conifers. For best selection, just get to Sundown Gardens this week at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. And be sure and ask about their loyalty program, too. SundownGardens.com. That's SundownGardens.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Ready to run for the roses as fast as you can.
20 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. There's your Dan Fogelberg, Rob.
It's the greatest song ever written about the Kentucky Derby, Casey, which is this weekend.
So emotional.
Well, it's about love, Kev. It's a song about love.
Love will do that to you.
Aren't all songs about love, honestly? I mean, you know, most of them. So let's talk about...
And he didn't even steal it from Marvin Gaye or Tom Petty.
It's original. All original. It came straight from him. Let's talk about some things that are trending this morning. Cell phone use in downtown Indianapolis is 41% of what it was pre-pandemic. So a study was done, and it's showing that downtowns across the country are turning into ghost towns. San Francisco, St. Louis, and Portland, of course, leading the pack of these ghost town downtowns.
Well, I think you got two things going on here. Number one, obviously a lot of people have not ever returned to work. And I think the other part of this is that people do not, in their spare time, want to come down to downtown Indianapolis because this mayor has proven he is unwilling to keep the city safe. And now with the rise of the suburbs, places like Carmel and Westfield and, you know, various Greenwood, there's all options.
Right. There's less reason to come downtown. Also trending, Governor Holcomb, he signed into law. Well, he signed, 91 bills into law?
No vetoes.
No vetoes. One of the laws that he signed is a requirement for government meetings in Indiana to be live streamed or recorded.
Oh.
And this is HE 1167 on May 1st. The new law doesn't go into effect until July 1st of 2025. Boy, that's going to make our job easier.
I so love how John Herrick delivered that news on the cast this morning. Mm-hmm. He said something like he was doing the news report on Holcomb signing all these bills, and John goes, and the governor has not vetoed a single bill. Good for you, John.
Also trending this morning, Dee Snider. He's been axed from the lineup of a San Francisco Pride parade. It's allegedly over a transphobic tweet that he put out in which he agreed with a statement criticizing child sex changes. So you think that they would know where someone stands before they put him in their San Francisco Pride lineup.
Well, also think about that, though. He's against child sex changes, and that was enough to get him bounced.
That's what got him kicked out. So regarding Title 42 ending on May 11th, Karine Jean-Pierre says the administration is taking it very seriously.
I can't say what it's going to look like after May 11th, but what I can say is that this is an administration that has taken the challenges that we see at the border very seriously since day one.
Mm-hmm. 6.3 million illegal immigrants have crossed the border since Biden took office, but they're taking it very seriously, just like they take inflation seriously, just like they took the withdrawal of Afghanistan seriously, just like they take Hunter Biden seriously. They are very serious.
Seriously, Casey, what aren't you getting?
What?
Seriously, Casey, what aren't you getting?
What?
Seriously.
No, they're seriously.
Seriously.
Seriously, they are serious. And finally, Michelle Obama is releasing Plezzy. This is a healthy, it's called Plezzy. It's a healthy food and drink brand to fight childhood obesity.
Well, that'll go over well with our audience.
The only thing that I question about this, besides everything, is that it contains a lot of sugar still. So, healthy?
She was anti-sugar.
Correct.
Wasn't she the one who took all the sugar out of the vending machines?
Right, but they're putting things like stevia, and it's lower sugar than a full-fledged soda pop, but you can't healthy when you're putting sugar supplements into something. It still has the sugar and calories in it.
Who's the person who's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to eat. I guess I'll eat this because Michelle Obama is for it.
Right.
Like in the 60s where people were going, I don't know what to get. Well, Lady Bird Johnson, she's for whatever. in the 90s, was it, well, we're kind of on the fence. Well, Barbara Bush said.
Mm-hmm. Well, isn't that very similar to endorsements? On campaign. I don't know who to vote for, but my favorite actor endorsed this politician, so that's what I'm going to go with.
If you try some of this crap, please let us know. Call the hotline, 317-684-8444. Let us know if it is as horrific as we had anticipated it was.
Okay, so this Alabama baseball coach, Brad Bohannon, he was fired yesterday. This is because of a investigation into suspicious betting activity on his Crimson Tide baseball team.
So this is like an ever-moving story, and it's now the most interesting story in all of sports. So Alabama was playing LSU in baseball. Mm-hmm. There was multiple suspicious bets placed in Ohio, of all places.
Yeah.
Ohio is then alerted, the gaming commission or whatever it is called there, was alerted there is an actual company who monitors wagers. That's their job. And they somehow picked up on this. It was flagged as a suspicious wager. They alerted the state of Ohio. Ohio shuts down the betting on the game. Indiana and New Jersey then follow suit. Mm-hmm. And now this guy has been fired. And now the newest update, according to ESPN, was that the bettor was apparently in contact. There was some way I guess they allege that they have proven that the bettor who made the suspicious bet was in contact with the Alabama baseball coach. Alabama ultimately lost the game. They were down big early, then came back, but lost 8-6 on this March 16th game. ESPN described it as the starting pitcher for that day. Ace Luke Holcomb was scratched before the LSU game because of back tightness and was replaced by sophomore Hagan Banks. Mm-hmm. So if you were to read through the lines on this, and I am not saying this is what actually happened, but
sounds like the coach threw the game.
Well, it sounds like the coach might have, maybe, who knows, could have let this bettor in question know this guy is not going to pitch today. You might want to sprint a bet over there if you're feeling frisky.
Well, who's to say that the coach didn't have money in that too?
We don't know. And the fact that he has been fired, there is investigations. Again, Indiana, New Jersey, Ohio, I believe, have banned for now any betting on Alabama baseball. It's just a very, very fascinating story. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, the NCAA policy does prohibit athletes, coaches, and personnel from betting on sports because of this very reason.
Yeah.
They could take out the starters and put in the bench warmers.
Yep. Let's take a break. When we come back, Robert Vane is going to join us. He was Greg Ballard, former mayor of Indianapolis. He was his communications director. Ballard, of course, the last Republican in Marion County to have any sort of success. And Robert has a new article out in Indy Star about the things that Jefferson Shreve, the current Republican nominee for the mayor of Indianapolis, can learn from Greg Ballard and his campaigns.
What he needs to do to win. That's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Mother, also called mom, doubles as chauffeur, ATM, and someone with great advice and unconditional love. This Mother's Day, make her day with fine jewelry from Shane Company. We have gifts for every mom, and everyone special in your life who's like a mom to you. What's great about Shane Company is our endless selection of options. With so many diamonds and colorful gemstones to choose from, we can help you create a one-of-a-kind necklace for Mom. Pick a favorite color or choose a birthstone to represent each family member. We source our gemstones from around the world and hand-select the most beautiful ones, so whatever you create for Mom, it'll be awesome. Something personal that reflects her style and all your love. When's her birthday? We have Zodiac Charm necklaces for every sign. Visit us today or shop online at shaneco.com and get free express shipping. Whether you spend a little or a lot, you're going to crush it with a Mother's Day gift from Shane Company.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. I've got amazing news from Window Nation. You can modernize and reinvest in your home today with new windows from Window Nation, and it's their best deal. 0% interest for 5 full years, and on top of that, you get 2 windows with every 2 you buy. You'll get all the advantages of more comfort, lower energy bills, higher home value, all with the impeccable construction and expert installation Window Nation is known for.
Window Nation has placed nearly 2 million windows with 96% perfection, making them one of the top window companies in America. If your home is over 15 to 20 years old, this is one of the smartest investments you can make. Call today, 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com. Lock in these incredible savings. 0 interest for 5 years. That's 60 months interest-free plus 2 free windows with every 2 that you purchase. It's only for a limited time, though, so don't miss out. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Celebrating the month of May. 66 degrees and sunny here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Patients at Peyton Manning Children's Hospital are getting into the spirit of the Indy 500 by singing the famous song you hear before the start of each race.
That gleaming candlelight, still shining bright, through the sycamore for me.
That being back home again in Indiana. If you've been wanting to catch a performance of Hamilton during its run in Indy, this weekend is your last chance for the season. You can get tickets online through indianapolis.broadway.com. The average price for gas across the state is currently $3.44 per gallon, according to GasBuddy.com. I'm Sasha Nixon, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The greenhouse is full of color at Sundown Gardens. Summer annuals and hanging baskets are arriving daily at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. SundownGardens.com. SundownGardens.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Well, they blew up the chicken man in Philly last
It's a property tax song, the original. 11:32, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. We're going to have a rhino moment, huh?
Yeah.
You're joking.
There he is. Yes.
That is absolutely correct. You know.
So Robert Vane, he is the former communications director for Greg Ballard. And you know the thing I love about you, Vane, is you're totally honest. You're 100% entrenched in the establishment. You would love, you said, an entire hour once a month called the Rhino Hour, and people could the conservatives just say mean things to you.
Oh, I can't believe it hasn't happened already. I was told Garrison would be here. Where's Greg?
Okay, so I thought this piece you had in Indy Star was fascinating because you were Ballard's communication director. And
well, I was comms director at State Party basically when he won.
Yeah.
And then I was his press secretary for the transition, and then I eventually worked in the administration for a couple of years.
So you were there. You saw what he did successfully in terms of winning what a lot of people thought at one point was especially after kind of Peterson had cruised to re-election in 2003, an unwinnable race, an unwinnable city. And you wrote a piece in Indy Star that I thought was very interesting about what Jefferson Shreve, the Republican nominee now, could learn from Greg Ballard. And for those people who haven't had a chance to read the column yet, what's the number one thing Jefferson Shreve should be learning from Greg Ballard?
Visit people where they're comfortable. Ask them what their biggest worries are, and then be honest about what it takes to address them. You know, Ballard's almost a metaphor, right?
Right.
Well, Greg Ballard did it. There's one thing that I didn't write in my column that maybe I'll write in a future one, and that is, not only do Republicans remember what happened in 2007, but so do the Democrats. And they're not going to forget it.
Yeah.
Just like we aren't. And what Ballard did, I thought Mayor Ballard was going to get absolutely clocked 40 points like Washington Generals lit. And when I was offered to help him in the summer and fall, it really was because, I was in the Army, he was in the Marine Corps, my mother and father were in the Marine Corps, Republican, like that's what you do, you just help. And I was working Channel 8 the night that he won, and I was astounded.
Did you get a feeling with Ballard? Because I want to come back to what you talked about, meeting people where they are and where they're comfortable in a second. But did you get a feeling at any point until the vote was tallied, hey, this guy's got a shot to win?
I was told by Kyle Walker, who was the executive director of the Marion County Republican Party at the time, quote, "This dude's got a shot to win," close quote. And that was in October. And I was like, well, yeah, but, Peterson was a pretty good mayor. I mean, he was.
Well, especially compared to what we got now.
Well, he should go into the Indianapolis Hall of Fame just for charter schools. I mean, that was so much of that was him. And he had a really bad 6 months. And that was the last 6 months of 2007. But I mean, if the election had been in June, he'd have clobbered him. But the one thing, and the mayor and I don't agree on this, Mayor Ballard. The fact that Mayor Ballard was in the Marine Corps as an officer and had seen combat in the Persian Gulf War meant that his public safety's job one message was bought by the voters because Marines are tough and they're mission oriented. If he had been in the Air Force, no offense, or the Coast Guard, no offense, they'd have been like, what does that mean? But when a Marine says, I'm going to get tough, they believe it. And I think that's one of the things that differentiates him from Shreve.
Right.
Obviously, Shreve doesn't have that background. What Shreve does have is a ton of money. Mm-hmm. Thank God.
That's why he's probably hanging out with you now. That's who you hang out with, people who have all the money.
He signs my passport to go to Brownsburg.
Robert Vane is our guest. He's got a new column out in Indy Star about what Jefferson Shreve needs to do in order to win this mayor's race. You talked about meeting people where they are, and I think that's such a good point because Ballard was so good about going places Republicans don't normally go.
And look at Greg Ballard, right? I mean, if you didn't know he was mayor, you'd think he was the general manager of the rallies in Southport. I mean, he's got that everyman appearance. And there's such an underestimation for what serving in the military means to voters. Where I believe Shreve has an advantage, besides the fact that obviously he has money, is he has a greater understanding of the city issues through some of his service. He has a terrific group of advisors and folks. I think his messaging has been on point. And the other thing I'll say lastly is I think residents of Indianapolis, the voters, are willing to listen.
How do you get, though, the people who, I mean, Ryan Mears was on the ballot last year. Hard to do any worse than that, and they still voted for him.
He performed worse of all the countywide Democrats. He was the only one under 60%. But I would also say, and Ryan Mears, won, so winning's all that matters. He has no name ID. You have to have someone to blame for your anger, for your angst, for your disappointment. And Joe Hogsett's name ID is probably as close to 100 as anyone in the city. And so you don't have to spend money and spend time telling people who is the mayor and this is why it's the mayor's fault. You had to tell people this is the prosecutor and this is the prosecutor's fault. If you can skip that middle step, then your money in messaging is so much more efficient.
We got about 2 minutes left. Is crime the issue? If you were, maybe you are advising the kids, so I don't know. Maybe you're advising everyone. Is crime the issue? Is that the thing that if you're Jefferson Shreve, the ads are focused on that?
There's a general. I don't believe crime was why Ballard won in 7. He won.
It's a different
because
set of circumstances, though.
He won because of the COIT increase, the 65% raising in the local option income tax. That's what cemented his victory. Homicides under Greg Ballard were under triple digits his first 4 years. Criminal homicides, X killing Y for whatever. Crime's big, but crime doesn't affect everybody. It doesn't affect, in your exclusive gated community, Kendall, what crime is there? They use the wrong fork?
Yeah, but he's also not voting for mayor, and I am. Robert, I mean, I live in Indianapolis.
And I live in Fountain Square, so I'm right there.
Okay, so crime is number 1 on my list, followed by infrastructure.
I guess it's probably correct, 1 and 2. But I would say there's another issue, and there's another issue that hasn't been talked about yet, but will be, and I know we're running out of time. Before I end, I want to say what a terrific Governor Eric Holcomb has been.
What were you going to say before that?
There is a pride in
We might run out of time before you get to that.
There's a pride in Indianapolis that was significantly damaged by the riot. I don't think the city's recovered from that yet. Yeah. I don't blame Joe Hogsett for COVID, that kind of stuff. There's certain things that are just out of people's control, right? It's like blaming DeSantis for the hurricane. It's what happens afterward, right?
Right.
DeSantis on the hurricane
how you
was
execute.
Perfect.
Sure.
Basically. And how has the city come back from the riot? And I don't know.
Maybe you could ask Holcomb next time you see him, because I know you guys are buddies, when the Malik Muhammad statue is going to be out there in front of the state capitol.
It's right next to the Rob Kendall statue.
Robert Vane, one last question. Shreve spent $2 million on his campaign ads to the run-up to the primary. What's he going to have to spend to win?
5 to 10.
That's couch cushion money for that guy.
Nothing. Thank you, Robert Vane.
Good to see you.
Articles in IndyStar.com. Check it out. Coming up next, we're going to mind our manners with Susan Beckwith. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Always good to see you.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the jobs numbers are out, but do they tell the story of a growing economy? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Indy, finally springtime, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Edwina did. She called Rhino Shield.
Over the years, I've had to touch up the house. I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.
Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
I've had painters here before, and it was usually quite a disaster with them leaving their equipment here and picking up things in the yard. But Rhino Shield was right on it.
Indy, now get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
The gentleman said, if you're interested, give me a call. And I said, honestly, can you come tomorrow?
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-924-4418. 800-924-4418. 800-924-4418. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's spring cleaning time in Indiana, and that means it's not so much about getting rid of clutter. We also have to deal with everything from allergens and irritants to dirt and grunge being tracked into the home. Right now at Zero Res, you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $149 plus a free hallway. Zero Res is part of my defense team for my allergies and my floors. Zero Res does it with no soap, No residue, no harsh chemicals using their patented ZR water. They really get the allergens and irritants as well as the dirt and stains out for a lasting spring clean. And the techs are the best in the industry, trained in extraction techniques that just work to get your things really, really clean. With Zero Res, things just stay cleaner longer with a softer and fluffier feeling that you'll absolutely notice. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $149, plus you get that free hallway too. Call 388-5141. Again, that's 388-5141, or schedule your appointment online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Mother's Day is less than 2 weeks away. Show your mom who the favorite child really is. Hellsberg Diamonds has an assortment of Mother's Day gifts, including keepsake pendants, diamond and gemstone stacking bands, and 14-karat gold hoops perfect for layering. Hellsberg Diamonds makes it easy to find a gift she'll love and that you hope she'll pass down one day too. Visit one of Hellsberg Diamonds' area locations or at hellsberg.com. Hurry, Mother's Day is Sunday, May 14th.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Can you hear it? That's the sound of memories. And making those memories is about to get a whole lot easier. Sportsman's Warehouse is coming to Brownsburg. Join us for our grand opening celebration May 4th through 6th, and let us help you make new memories this year. Gear up for unforgettable at Sportsman's Warehouse.
Give family a call for your family maintenance plan, 317-577-8077. Maintenance is crucial.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Listen to Hammer and Nigel from 3 to 7 all this week for your chance to win tickets to the GMR Grand Prix on Saturday, May 13th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. More info at WIBC.com.
It's time to mind your manners with Susan Beckwith.
Use your manners everywhere, anytime and anywhere. Good manners matter. All of them you have to master.
Oh, it is time to send you into the weekend on a positive note. You know, Casey, we do this segment every Friday to close out the show because, well,
we have to be out there in society and we want people to behave.
Yeah, we want our audience to leave heading into the weekend to be better people. And
Yes.
when we think about who could help us best do that, none other than the former Miss Indiana, Susan Beckwith. Susan, how are you?
Doing great this Friday.
All right, so you chose specifically restaurant etiquette as our Mind Your Manners segment this week. Is that because you observe so much atrocious restaurant etiquette?
Well, actually, today is Cinco de Mayo, and it never fails. We are at least at our favorite Mexican restaurant here in Noblesville every week, and so I just started thinking about that and also thinking about the debate that Micah and I have every week about stacking plates when we're finished with the meal and whether or not that is rude.
I do that.
Yeah, let's start there. And I can vouch that they do eat at this restaurant at least 93 times a week. Every time after church, if we go to lunch together, we go to the same place. And so, okay, great. So my wife was a former server. She is adamant we put all the trash on all the plates that have been stacked together. I think that doesn't really help all that much. What say you?
So actually, it is rude. And I do the same thing, Casey. And so Micah is the one that always is like, hey, you know you're not supposed to do that. And so I struggle because I feel like I'm helping.
Me too!
Yes, but in reality, a lot of times it actually can create more work for them, especially if they have a certain way that they like to do it. So I'm trying to be better, but that is like instinctual for me to want to help.
I'm crushed. I never used to do it until recently. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to stack them all and put it to the edge of the table, which makes it easy for them. And now you're saying I'm wrong. I'm crushed. I'm crushed.
Well, I do the same, so I feel like I am trying to be better about it as well.
Okay, let's ask about something else, because my wife and I also have this conversation. Is it indeed rude to flag down your waiter or waitress?
Yes.
Garçon.
Technically, you should try to utilize nonverbal cues to get their attention.
Like eye contact. Hey, come over here.
Wait, time out.
Yes,
I'm not talking. Look, wait, Susan. Let me clarify. I'm not talking about like, snapping your fingers at somebody, but if you need their attention, it is rude to like just raise your hand or something of that nature.
Ideally, yes, you are to try to utilize other nonverbal means. Yes. I am really shocking the team over there this
What am
morning.
I supposed to do? Osmosis?
You know what? I feel like your personality, your big personality, would figure out a very creative way to get their attention without raising your hand
Start
or
waving the
snapping.
napkin. Oh, no.
Susan Beckwith is our guest. It's the Mind Your Manners segment. We're talking about restaurant etiquette today. Casey.
Okay, Susan, if you tell me one more thing that I've done wrong, I don't think I'm going to ever go out to eat again. Is it rude to ask for the check before you're done eating?
No, I don't think it's rude to ask for the check before eating. I do believe regarding the check, though, if you have a large party, you should definitely be in communication with your waiter beforehand to communicate that, to also ask if it's even possible to split the bill. And if it's not, then the kosher thing to do, especially if all the meals are about the same price, is just to split everything evenly.
All right, I got another one for you. Is it rude to ask for a booth or a specific seat?
No. Now, it is rude to go in and just sit down.
It's rude to what?
It is rude to just go and take a seat.
Yeah.
You need to wait to be seated, but you can request absolutely a specific seat.
Okay, I want to come back to this, the check thing, because you know me, Susan, I am the world's most cheapest man. However, I do feel a sense of obligation when I go out with other people to at least try to be courteous and pick up the check or offer to pick up the check and then, hey, you guys get it the next time. However, recently, though, we did this, and the other people that we went with seemed kind of annoyed because that meant they had to get it the next time. And, of course, I was joking, saying, oh, no, it's fine. We'll get it this time. You guys get it next time. We'll go to St. Elmo's next time when you guys have to pick up the check. Should you offer to pick up the check? How do you have that hard conversation if there's a group of people?
If you'd like to pick up the check, you work that out beforehand with the waiter, and that way you are not discussing it at the table, especially with the waiter being right there present. So and I want to make sure I'm answering your question, so I may have to have you circle back to it, but as far as is it rude to pick up the check? Absolutely not. Now, you may not want to have the expectation that they for sure will reciprocate. So, if you're going to be generous, they want to do that out of the goodness of your heart without expecting something in return.
That's why sometimes Micah will come to lunch if Susan has the kids. We always get it when Micah comes with us. Mm-hmm. That way it's his turn when all the kids and Susan are there.
I don't know what he's trying to say about you, Susan, that you order a lot of food. What? I don't know if I'd take that.
Oh, we got it last time. It's your turn. Boy, what a bummer.
All right, Susan, I've got another question for you. A lot of people have food allergies, specific things they can and cannot eat. What's the word on sending food back?
You don't want to wait till the end of the meal. If there is a problem, then you need to address it right when you receive it. Regarding food allergies, that's a very different thing. But if you have a dish that you don't like due to taste, you certainly don't want to eat most of it and then complain. But as far as food allergies, that's an absolute health concern. So there should be no worry or hesitation to send it back. That is not rude.
Okay, now what if you're with a group of people and you've all received your food, but one person is unhappy and has to send the food back? Do the remaining three have to wait until their new dish arrives?
No way!
Or can they dig in?
No, they do not need to wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
In that circumstance, you do not need to wait. So
yeah.
Normally, you would wait to start eating until everybody's been served. Now, in that circumstance, if they're sending a dish back, you wouldn't want to delay everyone else's meal because it would be potentially cold by the time they got to enjoy it.
Susan, back with our guest. It is Mind Your Manners. We're talking about restaurant etiquette, so you people don't behave like a bunch of lunatics over the weekend at your various restaurants. One of the things that will shock you, Casey, is that when Susan's husband and I go to lunch, we like to talk.
Yeah.
And just like a couple of cackling hens. And so we will sit there for a very long time after the meal is over and keep talking about various things, mostly me trying to get Micah to formally leave the Republican Party. But you say we linger too long. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you shouldn't linger, especially during busy times, because they need to turn tables to really make a profit. So just being really aware if you're there during a busy time, if they're slower and there's lots of tables open, you probably can take a little bit longer than, when it's hopping, so you just need to be mindful of that. But yes, that's how they make their money. So.
And which is interesting because in Italy, when you go to a restaurant there, they expect you to have the table for the full night. And if you ask for the check, they consider it rude. Like they want to keep bringing you food, which is completely opposite of what happens here. But I want to ask you the big tip question. Where are we with the tip? I know a lot of people say, 15% is standard. It's now bumped up to 20%. And what if you're with somebody who you think is an under-tipper? Do you say something? Do you just walk out sheepishly? Where are we with the tipping?
20%, yes, is, where I believe that it should be. 15%, goodness, especially when you take into consideration what they're getting on an hourly wage. So 20%. And as far as if you're concerned with somebody else paying the bill, maybe that's an opportunity for you to say, hey, I'll cover the tip. And then that it can really, that they can be compensated well. Now, tipping for takeout, that's a very different situation. So if I have a very complex order, a lot of times I will tip for takeout. If it's a situation with like an over-the-counter, like at Starbucks, folks need to consider that when they hand you that electronic device, and it has all of the tipping options, that just think of that as like another tip jar. And hopefully that will take out some of the pressure, because I know everybody's utilizing those these days, and it's a lot.
Susan, before we let you go, tell us about your fabulous website, Belle of the Midwest.
Awesome. Yes. So that's a great way to get in touch with me. Right now, I'm booking engagements. So if you have a civic group, a church group that would enjoy, I'm doing some ladies' teas. I enjoy talking about social etiquette, tea etiquette. And so I would love to join you, and that's a great way to get in touch with me. There will be new blog content and information coming to my website in May, so continue to check back. But right now you can see some of my former articles that I had written for Kit Magazine.
It's Belle of the Midwest, BELLE of the Midwest.com. Susan Beckwith, thank you for making us better people, and you have a great weekend.
You too. Take care.
Thanks, Susan. All right, well, go forth and eat properly this weekend if you're out and about. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Good job. And thank you for listening today. We're going to count on you to be back here on Monday. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Announcing Palavana Cubano, the newest and tastiest Cuban sandwich restaurant in Indy, located in the Garage Food Hall in the Battleworks district. Palavana Cubano is dedicated to serving authentic, mouth-watering Cuban sandwiches, coffee, and pastries. If you have never tried a Cuban, you're in for a treat. A warm and inviting atmosphere with colorful decor that pays tribute to the vibrant culture of Cuba. For a quick lunch or relaxing dinner with friends, Palavana Cubano is the perfect destination.
Hey there, it's JMV. If you have clogged drains, listen up. There are some clogs a plunger simply cannot fix. That's when you need a professional, and I highly recommend the team at LD Smith Plumbing to handle any water problem in your home, especially clogged drains. They have the know-how and the latest equipment to find the clog and remove it. They're truly water's boss. In the frustration of clogged drains, visit ldsmithplumbing.com today and request an appointment. That's ldsmithplumbing.com today.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy